We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
The 2022 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
I'm Chad Wingard, a Nut-and-Jerry man from the Hawthorn Football Club. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round. It's where we look back and honour those Indigenous players who have led the way.
He was the only Aboriginal player playing in the VFL.
I want to be good, dominating my mind that I was very
A little man walking amongst giants.
A chance to reflect on the wrongs of the past.
93 against Collingwood, I did what I had to do. I pointed to my skin and said, I'm black and I'm proud.
And learn and grow as a football community.
We need the rest of Australia to stand up, to fight, to stamp it out, because there is no room for racism in Australia.
It's the round where we remember those champions who have lit up the biggest games of all.
Away goes Michael Long. Still going. 30 metres out. Oh, what play! It may have been touched on the line. No! One of the plays of the year.
And where we highlight what the current Indigenous players do for our game and our country.
This is who we are.
And this is our stage.
Here we go, here we go.
Instead picked up by Pickett, who bounced it through. High up and under, Rankin upstairs with the hand.
Roving Bolton, a dummy, a step, a snap on his right, that is brilliant.
Back to Motlop, curls it from the left forward pocket. Centre half forward, kicks for Wingard, into the open goal. Hawthorn are coming.
Brisbane into attack. Cameron! He goes highest thing ever stands.
Stack onto the footy, Rioli in the goal square, suckers it through. Pops it up towards Ryan, gets a run, and a fly. Ryan soars through the night sky.
This is a Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
Takes the mark, Bacon goal square, Buddy from 60 out, he bends it back, and he's got it.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
The honeymoon is well and truly over for new coach Sam Mitchell, with his team having lost their past 4 matches. They now face a barnstorming Brisbane Lions in Tassie, having only lost 1 game for the season so far. Chris Fagan may have his challenges with injuries and his forward line, but the Lions continue to charge on and look to build the foundations for another finals assault. It's Hawthorn and Brisbane from York Park in Launceston as Sir Doug Nicholls Round of the AFL continues on ABC Sport. Good afternoon, everyone. Great to have your company. Matt Clinch to call the actions this afternoon alongside Corbin Middlemass. Corby, welcome.
Thanks, Clinchy. As you said, contrasting form lines, isn't it, leading in? So you've got the Brisbane Lions who are on a heater, 5-game winning streak, and the Hawks, 4 losses in a row. A spirited effort against Richmond last week, but ultimately falling short. Brisbane, they play a lot of footy in York Park, as the interstate teams generally do. So what happens is, Hawthorn obviously move home games to Launceston, and generally the visitors that come with them, it's not some sort of powerful Victorian team. It's more often than not one of the expansion teams in the comp. So the Brisbane Lions have played there 11 times in club history. You can really remove the first 8 where they were 1-7, but they have won 2 of their last 3 at the venue against the Hawks, as really they've dovetailed the Hawks sliding after their golden dynasty, and obviously Brisbane back towards the top of the table. But the last time they met, Clinchy, there was a howling gale, round 20 last year. Hawks ended up winning the game by 12 points, and really Brisbane missed out in the second quarter, and it cost them. So Hawks kicked 4-0 in the first quarter. They led by 53 at three-quarter time. The Lions came rattling home to kick 8-1 in the last. But if you miss your opportunity kicking with a breeze, you'll be made to pay for it at these little boutique grounds.
Yeah, in that match, Hawthorn led by over 30 points in the third quarter. The Brisbane Lions tried to come charging home, but eventually fell 2 goals short. Interesting around selection when it comes to the Hawks. So they bring back in Shields, Howe, Mitchell and Jaff come back in. So what will Sam Mitchell's best midfield side look like by the end of the season, with James Warple having been dropped? And for the Brisbane Lions, unfortunately, Ryan Lester out with personal reasons. So it means Tom Fullerton comes in to the selected 22, with Marcus Adams out with health and safety reasons. Your experts on ABC Sport this afternoon. Brett Delidio, welcome.
Thanks, Clinchy. Good to be here again, mate. And it brings back a bit of old memories, doesn't it? Paulie being back in here with the crew and watching on the big screen. But nice to be alongside you folk for the best part of the next couple of hours.
And we've got the Giants and the West Coast Eagles doing battle at the moment. So the Giants seem to comfortably have the measure of the Eagles there. So we'll keep you across that match throughout the rest of the afternoon. But time on in the opening term, and it's the Giants comfortably in control. Luke Ball alongside Brett Delidio this afternoon. Bally, great to see you.
Thanks, Clinchy. Yeah, good to be here. Looking forward to watching the Lions. It's probably only really, what are we, approaching the halfway point. If we're being honest, Lids,
yep.
Really only a handful of teams that you would consider week in, week out watchable.
Yep.
I think we saw one on Friday night, or maybe two on Friday night. The Swans are,
they're not too bad.
Watch, yeah.
Haven't been as good this year.
No, I was at Etihad yesterday, and Melbourne. It's just great to see a side that are that well connected and really just in a sweet spot in terms of where they're at with their footy. And I think Brisbane are getting to that stage. And you're right, Corb. Coming here today, you go, okay, Tassie, does that swing the ledger a little bit back towards Hawthorn, or is there a little asterisk just because Tassie can throw up some unpredictable conditions, but it really does feel like Brisbane, or this Brisbane team, is a anywhere, anytime team. They're unconditional, and that's what's separating the top two, probably the top two in particular, in the competition at the moment.
Sorry.
Just on Brisbane, you mentioned them. So are they in a bracket with Fremantle, or are they in another bracket by themselves? I mean, I think a lot of people sort of have Melbourne one, then a little gap, and then the next bracket. Are Brisbane outright second in your mind?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, yep. I do. Yeah, that's how I've got it. They're not quite 1B. I think it's Melbourne 1 pretty clearly at this stage. What are we, 10 rounds in? So, Brisbane 2, and then a bit of a gap to Freo. I mean, Freo,
Carlton's killed there.
Check last week. Yeah, I think if you're talking about any given day, and I watched Carlton Friday night, particularly that second quarter, you go, the way that they did that will challenge Melbourne.
Yep.
Think about Melbourne's strength. Their big bodies around the footy, and Oliver was just magnificent again yesterday. Well, Carlton can throw Hewitt at him. They can throw Chera, they can throw so they clearly need Pitnet back to be able to compete with Gawn and Jackson. And then they've got the key forwards, the athletic key forwards.
They do it without Harry Mackay, which is fantastic for them.
That's right. So he comes back. They can keep May, Lever, obviously, and Petty busy. Yep. Yeah, because to beat Melbourne, you're going to need, and I think we're going to see the Brisbane forward line today, you really need 6 forwards who in their own right are dangerous.
Yeah.
And the opposite of Melbourne, if we talk about Melbourne, the Melbourne defenders, when the ball comes forward, don't feel confident to ignore their opponent and roll off and intercept. So I think Carlton have got that at their best, through the middle of the ground and forward of the ball. Bit of a question mark over the defence still. Brisbane, all over the park, again, with the asterisks. I mean, we know that McStay and Danaher are out at the moment, so that'll test them out a bit, hopefully to come back at the end of the year. But at the moment, they tick most of the boxes.
Is it mentally challenging for a team like Brisbane over the last 3 years? 2 semi-finals, prelim final loss, wanting to take that next leap, but you have to qualify. You've got to beat the teams in which you need to do so. So they've only beaten, they've lost to Geelong is the only team they've lost. But in the teams they've beaten so far this season, really Sydney's the only side that's inside the top 8. So their challenges are going to come in the back edges of the season. So we're all sort of trying to work out where they sit and whether they're ready to take that next step.
It shouldn't be mentally challenging. No, those results over the last 3 years you mentioned should be all the fire they need. So, no, I don't think that. And I think we're seeing that in the way they play this year. I mean, you could mount an argument that Melbourne at the moment, yesterday, for example, round 10, 13,000, Marvel Stadium, Saturday twilight, bottom team of the ladder. Now, they've got the ability at the moment to almost play at a cruising speed, and then
flick a switch for a little bit.
A couple of times yesterday, North and North's intensity. They had 70-odd tackles. They had a crack yesterday, and I think they got within a goal, even though they had half as many inside 50s. But they got within a goal halfway through the third quarter, and you just saw Melbourne go, okay, that's enough. And it's Petrarca, it's Oliver. They've got those weapons to just dial it up a bit, and then. Okay, we've got the game in our keep and we can back it off a bit and manage some players through. And Viney didn't play yesterday. Langton got hurt. He's a really important player for them. Not up to date as to where that's landed today. Tom McDonald rolled an ankle at one stage so they can manage their team. And they know, because they know that...
They've got depth, though.
They've got the squad. Well, Dunstan comes in, for example. Now, I don't think he's in their best team, but he's a very handy 26, 27, 28 type player. As did Malchin, comes in yesterday. He's a big, strong body, experienced player. So they've got the best squad of 30, 32 Melbourne. That you really do need across a 22-plus season.
Luke Ball alongside Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass to call the action this afternoon. As we mentioned, we're also keeping you across the action at Giants Stadium, where the West Coast Eagles are taking on GWS. Aaron Bryans is doing so for us.
Clinchy, the Giants lead by 25 points, 7-2-44 to 3-1-19. Time on in the first. It's been a game of momentum swings. The Giants kicked the first 4 goals. The Eagles responded with 3 of their own. Then the Giants kicked 3 once again. So that 25-point advantage. Jamie Cripps and Toby Green have 2 goals each. Tom Green, a force in the middle. He has 8 touches, 4 tackles and a goal. But the Giants looking comfortable at the moment. 3 to play at Giants Stadium, up by 25.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll stay close throughout the afternoon. Hawthorn forward Jack Gunson, who's had no luck with injuries over the last couple of years, he's going to jump on the phone and have a chat to us and probably give us a bit of an insight as to what the mood is amongst the Hawthorn camp.
Yeah.
You guys would have been a part of teams where new coaches has come in and you've hoped that potentially this is the next wave, but when you're one of the older players in that team, and we've seen questions around what their best midfield formation is, you're sort of probably starting to wonder what your spot is in that team is as well.
Yeah, I think that's what Sammy Mitchell's trying to work out, and I think we heard him speak during the week saying, well, what is our best mix? And we've seen him obviously drop Warple. He's been not afraid to drop a premiership teammate in Liam Shields. So he's willing to make those calls to try and get the best mix. For mine, I think where they lack is, one, like pure size. Like you go up against Melbourne, and we were talking about this just before off air. Like Melbourne are just big, aren't they, through their midfield crew? But then speed and power, I just don't know whether they've got that in there. They tried Chad Wingard a couple of years ago, I reckon, or even last year, try and get some speed in, some dynamic play into their game. But they just haven't got that. And, Mitchell's a very similar player to Warple. O'Meara's gone forward now. Newcomb adds that.
He's the one, isn't he? He's the one that you can tell that, and it goes back to where he picked him up last year, Sam Mitchell. He was really keen to get him, wasn't he, coming through Box Hill. He seems to be the one that Sam likes, is that real bull with a bit of power. And, he's only played a handful of games, really, but he's showing some good signs. But, it is interesting because... from a midfield mix point of view, you do have to benchmark yourself against the best. And say, okay, how are we going to go when we come up against a Melbourne or a Carlton through there? So, Tom Mitchell comes back in today, but he's found himself out of the centre bounce a lot more. For him, when you consider where he's played all this footy across his career, and O'Meara's the other. O'Meara's the one that surprised me a little bit because he, at his best, he does have that speed and power, doesn't he? That burst out of the middle.
Probably more his finish.
A bit. Yeah, perhaps that. So, but I guess that's what. This year's about for Sam, isn't it? Finding out a bit about a few. Great to see Giarth come back into the team today. You talk about, the run and dare that he provides them across half back.
Yeah, I like the addition of Will Day going into the midfield. He's that bigger body in terms of height, not so much in terms of size just yet, but I reckon that'll come. I think what they like is his ability, his spatial awareness in there, that he's pretty 360 in there, but he can also make good decisions. And when you've got players that can get out of trouble and then make good decisions going forward versus just hacking it, I think that makes a big difference for your forwards and retaining the footy versus just being right a turnover and it's going back the other way.
It'd be interesting to ask Jack about the dynamic of a player that you played a lot of footy with. He was your captain, premiership captain, played in premiership, to come back and coach. You're right, I was there at Collingwood when obviously Buckley came back. No, I hadn't played with him, but a lot of the guys that had played in the premiership 2 years earlier had. And history will say that dynamic didn't work out very well at all, and it ended up causing a bit of an exodus. A fair few left. So, from the outside looking in, it looks like Sam's going about it really well and making the odd statement at selection, as you said, and not afraid to make the tough call. But it'd be interesting to hear from Jack about that dynamic.
They've had patches, Hawthorn, where they've shown, especially in first quarters, they start traditionally pretty well, and you can see what they're trying to build with their forward line with Mitch Lewis alongside Jacob Koschitzky, Bruce Gunston, a couple of the older guys, and Dylan Moore had a great start to the season, but the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden, he's found it a bit more of a challenge. Chad Wingard bopped up and kicked a couple in his 200th last week, but getting the right chemistry for the Hawks inside their forward 50.
Well, and that's it. I think we've seen the exciting part of it in, Dylan Moore when he is going well. Chad Wingard, gives us his brilliance every now and again, but then it's the consistency of their big key forwards, isn't it? Mitch Lewis, Koschitzky when he's down there. Yeah, they're probably struggling a little bit in their ruck department at the moment. Can you play two? They haven't really got two at the moment because big Benny boy McAvoy,
and Reeves is the other one.
And the
Reeves, they're really missing.
So a lot falls on Lynch to be able to go in there and do the work, but. Yeah, I think for them it is their forward line. Their back line's exciting. I love the excitement of Giath off their day when he was down there.
Sicily,
And Sicily was just for a bloke who's only 6'2", to play on the big guys and just a beautiful body player that can mark it, catch it.
Yeah, well, because you get Hardigan back today, who they probably missed to be able to play on those big guys to allow Sicily to roll off as that third man support.
The voice of Luke Ball alongside Brett Delidio, Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass to call the action. We saw Jack Gunston go down after the opening quarter against the Tigers last week with an ankle injury. He's been good enough to join us, the 3-time Premiership Hawk on ABC Sport. Jack, welcome. Thanks for taking our call. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, guys.
Tell us what's been sort of the breakthrough on your injury. I guess the initial thoughts were it could be sort of 6 weeks. The best results seem like it could be a fortnight. What's it sort of been viewed at now? You've got the scans.
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit unknown. I think a lot of guys in the past that have had it, some have been a couple of weeks and some have been up to 6. So I've progressed this week from crutches. I'm just in a moon boot and hopefully out of a moon boot in the next couple of days. So fingers crossed we can get up and going a bit quicker. But yeah, we're probably just going to take it up until the bye. And if we get any better than that, it's a bonus. But if not, that's probably where we're looking at the moment.
Gunners, it's Lids here, mate. Hope you're well. Sorry to hear about the injury, but we were just talking then for a couple of minutes about the best mix for the Hawks. And in your eyes, mate, who are the best 3 to 4 mids that you roll through there going forward to lead this club?
Yeah, it's probably a tough one at the moment. I think if you look at it, our best mids are the guys that have been around for a while. It's our Muriers, the Mitchells, and I guess the Warples when he's up and going. But in saying that, we're all aware of the direction of the footy club, and we need to get time into Jai Newcomb and Josh Ward and a lot of these other guys through there and give them exposure. So it's a fine balance, and at times we've probably struggled to find that balance. But we're seeing some exciting guys. Like Jai Newcomb's playing out of his skin at the moment, and maybe this is who he is. Maybe he's just an absolute gun of the competition because he's playing some really good footy. So it's exciting to see, and you just got to try and find the right balance where we can.
Jack, we were talking about the coach and the dynamic, the interesting dynamic of an ex, for you older players in particular, or more senior players, an ex-captain, premiership captain, then coming back to coach you. And I experienced that at Collingwood through the Buckley transition. Did he address it all? Just take us inside that a little bit. For you, did he get you the senior players? I know that he's been there in the last couple of years as an assistant, but did he get you senior players that he captained in a room separately before the start of the season, or has he just backed himself to let that play out over the start of his first season?
Yeah, I think how it all panned out. Most of us were a part of last year's leadership group, so naturally we all sat down end of the season once Clarko stepped away and Sam took the reins. We all sat down and chatted everything football and everything Hawthorn, and Sam just asked a question and wanted to clear the area if there was anything that needed to be cleared. Or obviously we're all in a unique situation. It hasn't happened too many times before, and I think the beauty about it being Sam coming and coaching was when I was coming through, I saw Sam as a coach anyway. He was basically an on-field coach, and he's such a smart guy, and he was constantly going to Clarko with new ideas, new ways that he thought we could improve. So for him to just pretty much get the title, it's unique, but in a way for a lot of us guys, it didn't feel any different with Sam coming in.
Mate, CJ back in today. Obviously, he makes you a better side off half-back. I've loved what he's been able to do and the excitement he brings with his bounce off half-back.
Yeah, and he's done that for a couple of years now. I think he's just got better composure in his game. I think he had that X factor as soon as he stepped in, and he'd get the ball and it was just straight to goal and take everyone on and take a bounce when he probably shouldn't. And now he's growing each game, and you just see that composure sort of running through his mind when he's got the ball in hand, which has made him such a great player this first half of the year. It's all he missed, and now I guess the coaching staff are feeling that pinch with a lot of half-backs, and so there's a few half-backs rolling through the wing, but it's exciting. It's exciting for the club.
So in today's game, obviously Finn McGuinness is out of the team. Is there a run with role for a mid out there? Will anyone go to a Lachie Neale or a Hugh McCluggage?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I think they'll back themselves in at the start, and then I'm sure you've got to be aware of a Lachie Neale or obviously Hugh as well, and Jared Lyons can play some really good footy in there as well. So I'm sure there'll be a few guys keeping a close eye, but knowing Sam, he wants to see how the game unfolds first, and hopefully we can get on top early.
Jack Gunston with us on Grandstand AFL. We're counting down to Hawthorn and the Brisbane Lions at York Park in Launceston. Jack, it's Corbin Middlemass here. I'm sure you're expecting this question. We talked a bit about Sam Mitchell, but I don't know if you heard, but your former coach, Alistair Clarkson, doesn't have a job in the competition at the moment. Where do you think he'll end up? What do you think he'll do next year?
I have read one or two articles about the old coach. I'm not sure. From what I'm sort of seeing and hearing, he seems pretty keen to get back into the coaching ranks. And look, I'm sure every club would love to have his services, whether it's head coach or just around the club. So, I'm sure Clarko always seems to know what he's up to and what he's doing, and he's always one to think ahead. So, it's a fascinating watch, but the game's better for him to have him involved, that's for sure.
When he finished at the end of last year, did you think he'll definitely coach again, that's not going to be it? Or did you think when he departed the Hawks at the end of last season that may be the last time we see him coach?
Yeah, I think you probably saw it all unfold in the end, that he didn't really want to step away from footy. He wanted to keep coaching the Hawthorn Footy Club, and he loved the footy club. So I think this year away will be great for him. It obviously looks like he's been over the States and sort of continued to develop his own coaching styles and methods, and it'll be fascinating to see what he brings back to AFL footy if he gets the chance.
Jack Gunson with us on ABC Sport. What about mentally, Jack? How are you finding it? Obviously, you only played the one game last year with a back injury. You come out and you kick 15 goals in the first 9 weeks, so you're flying, and then you find yourself with another ankle injury. How do you try and keep yourself as balanced as you can when you're not on the park as much as you'd like?
Yeah, it was obviously a little bit of a kick in the guts. I mean, as you said, missed a year of footy, and I was just really starting to get my body right and get a good routine of each week, because I've probably got to be a bit more careful with my training throughout the weeks to make sure I'm fresh for game day. So, to go down and potentially miss a few weeks was a bit of a kick in the guts. But in saying that, I'm looking at the positives. Maybe it is a good little opportunity to freshen my body up and really attack that middle and back half of the season.
You're 31 years of age in October later in the year. How's your hunger and your desire to keep pushing yourself? I think you're an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Do you see yourself locked in with the Hawks for the rest of your playing career?
Yeah, in terms of my age, after missing a year of footy, it's couldn't be hungry to just keep playing at the level. I've always loved playing AFL footy. I've loved the challenge, and I've had some unbelievable times at the Hawks and had some serious highs, and we've over the last few years missed finals, and it's been tough. So I've experienced everything, and I'd love to be a part of the group getting back to the finals, that's for sure.
And I don't know if you saw during the week, Jack, they've changed. Well, they haven't changed anything. They've kept it the same. The start time for the AFL Grand Final. You're a man who's run around Saturday afternoon at the MCG a number of times in your career. Are you happy with the afternoon time slot for the Grand Final?
Yeah, personally I am. I'm a little bit of a traditionalist. I love the Arvo time slot. I think, one, it provides great time for a function afterwards if you do win, so it's not too late into the night on a personal level. But it'd be tough for the players as well. If it was a night game, getting your hour sleep in throughout the day, you'd have a lot of nerves, and it's a long wait. So I think I love the 2:30 time slot.
And does the ankle injury ruin your golf game? Are you getting out and playing very often?
Unfortunately, I'm not. Yeah, it does set me back a little bit more. So I was going to play this week, funnily enough, for the first time for a little bit, and it wasn't something that was telling me not to play. So we'll get back out there soon. The boys are playing a bit of golf at the moment.
Is Mitch Lewis the best golfer at the club? Was he close to single figures as a junior growing up?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he plays off scratch now. So. Pretty handy footballer, playing some great footy and playing some really good golf. So
he did a
lot of healthy
ball,
competition with him and Bruce and Sicily. That's they're always exchanging money.
Don't go out with Chrissy Newman, mate. I can guarantee he's no good.
I know he's no good.
Jack, great to catch up. Hopefully we'll see you back in the next few weeks, and good luck with the Hawks in season 2022.
Beautiful, guys. Thanks for having me.
Jack Gunston joining us from the Hawks, unfortunately out with an ankle injury at the moment, but he does just straighten them up alongside Luke Bruce, those senior guys who can play the pivotal role really in the link between half back and half forward, but also a great support to the tall Timbers.
Yeah, it's a real shame. I've done 2 games live with them this year. The Geelong game, Easter Monday, they're terrific.
Great,
and they pushed Melbourne to a couple of goals too. They kept coming at them all day as well, and you could just tell the difference that Gunston at one end and Sicily at the other, that they really didn't have it all last year, of course. made for the Hawks, as you said, both to straighten them up. I mean, he's such a smart forward, and him being out there obviously creates a lot more opportunity for Koschitzke, for Lewis and Bruce around him. So it's a real shame that he's been sidelined again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he'll have too many issues in terms of lowering his work rate to get himself right and looking after the older body. I think Hawthorn do a great job of that. After watching Shawnee Burgoyne get through his last couple of years, or the 6 months that I was there anyway, they certainly know how to look after their older players, understanding they've got a full body of work behind them, so they don't have to completely flog them at 31 years of age.
What about my mate Corby asking about Alistair Clutton? I was sure he was going to ask the contract question. Guys like Tom Mitchell, Cole Hartigan, Daniel Howe, Liam Shields, what would they be thinking at this stage of their career as to what the future might look like?
It's a tough one to answer, isn't it? Like you're somewhere where you've started your career and you want to be that one club player. And I think for those boys, if they're in and out of the team, like Liam Shields has been, I haven't seen Howe play consistently. You certainly tend to wonder. And then, do they have currency, going forward for the club to get something back for them, or they just become those depth players, And for someone like Tom Mitchell, that would be really a hard pill to swallow, given that he's, won a Brownlow and won 3 or 4 best and fairest, and it'd be a tough conversation if that's the way that the club wanted to go, but I couldn't imagine it happening yet.
There's a bit of talk around that over the last trade period, wasn't there? Last off-season.
Chad Wingard was asked about and for Bruce, the Giants.
Yeah, and O'Meara, I think even himself. And you can sort of understand why, given where they're at and they're, in the scheme of things, the Hawks, and they're, very much rejuvenating their list and, having traded out first-round picks to get a lot of those players, all those sort of experienced players in over the last decade. I think they had the least amount, them and the Eagles, the least amount of first-round draft picks, because that's what happens sometimes when you're up the top. So I think they dabbled. They had a look at it last year, and perhaps they do that again this year. And would someone like a Bruce have some appeal to a team who's like a Carlton, for example, who might be a bit of cream on the top, short of going from fourth to really contending? Who knows?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I think that I know the Giants were heavily into him last year to try and get him up there.
Boys, isn't he? Yeah.
New South Wales boy, obviously from Wagga Wagga, I think. But yeah, I think he wanted to stay and be a Hawthorn player, which is understandable as well. Yeah. But it depends where you get that conversation. Well, mate, there's not going to be a spot for you. You're going to spend a lot of time in the twos. You've got to start to ask the question of yourself, don't you? Well, I think I can still play, but if it's not going to be in the ones, how keen am I to continually battle it out?
I certainly got to. You can't clear out all your senior. Okay, you're a young developing list. You need some role models. You need some seniors. So Bruce is a terrific role model around the club, and from all reports he is. Trains hard, work ethic, selfless. So knows that at times he might have to. Shields is a great example. Knows that at times he might have to go back and spend some time to give some opportunity for the young players coming through. Then you do need to have a group of those players. You can't just clear them all out and say we're developing and rebuilding. And I mean, really, that's what's probably a bit of the issue with North at the moment, I think. You can see the young talent, you can see the green shoots, but they're pretty light on, as Goldstein and Zeeble aside, they're really light on for senior talent. So, senior experience. So that's what can happen it's a bit of a delicate balance, isn't it?
100%. And in terms of forward craft, like who better to learn off a guy who's come from probably a rugby central sort of footy area and learn his craft and become a three-time premiership player and kicked lots and lots of goals. Couldn't miss there for a period of time as well, So, yeah, I agree with you. And I think we're too quick to throw out our older players in terms of experience because they get over the dark side of 30.
It's going to be an interesting challenge for Sam Mitchell. Obviously, he's spent time at Box Hill, so he knows what's required to step up from VFL level to AFL level and trying to get that balance right between keeping some of his senior guys, especially the guys 28 and over, motivated, especially if the team has to go through some short-term pain to try and find themselves back up and competing in the finals. So it's Hawthorn in 13th position, 3 wins and 6 losses. They've lost their last 4 matches, taking on the Brisbane Lions, who are in 2nd position, 8 and 1, and one of the chasing sides trying to loom as a challenger to Melbourne once we get to the business end of the season. Sir Doug Nicholls round on Grandstand AFL. Stay with us. The full pre-match coming up.
Can art and creativity heal invisible wounds?
It takes a lot to come out and talk about mental health.
Now, a unique social experiment hosted by Natalie Bassingthwaite harnesses the healing quality of art.
All will be revealed.
To find out if art can build a brighter future for our mental health.
I think you found your thing. Wow. You've nailed it.
Space 22, Tuesday nights on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
The Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Here is Buddy Franklin. He steps forward now. He's done it! A legend joins the Immortals.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls round.
Grandstand AFL.
On ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Great to have your company for Sunday afternoon footy. Sir Doug Nicholls round in the AFL as we celebrate the contribution that the Indigenous players make to our great game. And the Hawks Stars hoping to mount a challenge against the fast-running Brisbane Lions at the moment. Just the one loss so far for the Brisbane Lions in season 2022 and sitting second on the AFL ladder. We welcome our listeners through Queensland News Radio. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass to call the action alongside Luke Ball and Brett Delidio, your experts on ABC Sport. We're also keeping you across the GWS Giants taking on the West Coast Eagles. Second quarter action. Aaron Bryans with the latest.
Clinchy, the Giants by 25 points at the moment. Jesse Hogan kicking the opening 2 goals to start the second quarter after GWS had a 20-point lead at quarter time. So Jesse Hogan joins Jamie Cripps, Matt DeBoer and Toby Green with 2 majors. The home side getting out to a 25-0 start. It's currently 9-3-57 to 5-2-32 midway through the second term.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll stay close throughout the afternoon. We're just waiting for the final teams to come in for this afternoon's clash. So the Hawks making 4 changes with Shield, Howe, Mitchell and Jaff coming in for McGuinness, Warple, Scrimshaw, Gunston and McDonald. The Hawks have won 2 of their last 6 at York Park. And the Brisbane Lions have lost their last 2 against Hawthorn. So they give him Tom Fullerton who comes in. Marcus Adams is out with health and safety protocol. And Ryan Lester, who was part of the selected 22, is not making the trip due to personal reasons. On the boundary for us this afternoon is Chris Rowbottom. Chris, welcome to you. Paint the scene. What's it like in Launceston today?
G'day guys, yes, boundary side here at York Park in Launceston. It's a crisp and cool Launceston afternoon, but lots of sunshine, the ground bathed in light, which is fantastic to see, and conditions are really good for footy. Not too much of a breeze about, maybe just a slight breath of wind favouring the Mowbray end or the northern end of the ground as the Hawks break through the banner and make their way into the arena, adorning the Indigenous strip, of course, Doug Nicholls round, and really provides such a splash of colour and vibrancy, and we've seen some performances and the kids getting involved, and the entire city seems to be alive at the moment off the back of the footy being in town, which is good to see. The subs are in for Brisbane. Mitch Robinson will be the sub this afternoon. For the Hawks, it'll be Kyle Hartigan. No further changes to either team.
Thanks, Chris. Looking forward to your contribution throughout the afternoon as the Hawks make their way out onto York Park in Launceston. So the big news during the week, James Sicily signing a 5-year contract extension. He'll lead the Hawks again this afternoon. And I guess he's one of the key pillars, isn't he, as they look to build their future. Knowing that he's going to be there for the foreseeable future allows them to at least know they've got a pretty solid intercepting player in their back half.
Yeah, and you can develop, Granger Barras and then potentially get someone else as a key post player to be down there, allow him to... Well, we said Hartigan had come into the team. He's actually the sub, which is interesting in itself. But his ability to come off, intercept, he reads the ball so well in the flight. But not only that does he catch it, he kicks it so well as well. And he's got that confidence with his kick, but his game that he'll go for anything. So, I really enjoy watching Sicily go about it because he's got that fiery redhead sort of thing about him where he doesn't mind throwing a few and getting on the lip, but when he reins it in, he plays with that aggression as well. I think he's a very good player. But we spoke to Gunners about Giath as well and his inclusion. A bit of speed and power down there at the same end with Giath. And then obviously we've got McCluggage and Bailey and Cameron, Rayner, who's powerful as well down there for the Lions. So it'll be interesting to see this match up. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, the midfield's a key, and that's it's interesting. Sam Mitchell's obviously one of the greatest players that Hawthorn have ever had. I think he's almost the best stoppage player that I've ever seen. Has maybe in the last 20 years, and it's almost ironic that that's the area where they're really struggling at the moment, the Hawks. Now, the ruck personnel hasn't helped that, no doubt, since Big Reeves went down. He started the year pretty well, but they've been getting beaten comprehensively. And you spoke about it already, Lids, in the warm-up, trying to find that right mix through the middle of the ground. And they've been flicking Mitchell in and out, Tom Mitchell in and out, O'Meara in and out. Newcomb's been a bit more of a mainstay in there. They've tried a lot of combinations and nothing's really working. And I think they're pretty clearly 18th in terms of scores against from stoppage. And we know that the way footy's played these days, especially out of the middle, if you're conceding a lot out of the middle, you're clearly on the back foot in terms of ground position.
Making it hard on your defenders.
Yeah, it does. And against this Brisbane team, this Brisbane forward half, that has to be a focus today. They have to try and at least neutralise the clearance, centre clearance, and stoppage and contested footy around the ground. Otherwise, if you give this Brisbane team 50 plus inside 50s, looks at goal on what looks like a pretty good day down there in Lonnie, you think they're going to kick a winning score.
Well, that's what I like about the Lions is their ability to play with speed and have those dynamic players in their front half. I named a few of them before: Bailey, Cameron, Rayner, McCluggage. Spending more time inside. McCarthy as well. More time inside than he is out on the wing anymore, which is good. I like that development, but their ability to get scores right across and not be relying on one key post to kick their big score, I think, is a key to their forward line structure.
Great to see Hipwood back, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Couldn't have come at a better time with Danaher going down with a shoulder a couple of weeks ago, followed by McStay the week after. They don't seem to be able to get them all out there at the same time, unfortunately, the Lions. You hope they do towards the pointy end of the year, because that is a scary proposition. But great to see Hipwood back. He looked, his athletic self last week, got his hands on the footy a little bit, got through the game. That was the most important thing. You think he'd be better for the run this week. So he gets back there. And then Darcy Fort's been a great find for them. He's allowed them to play the two ruckmen because of his ability to drift forward, take the odd clunk and kick accurately.
He doesn't miss.
He doesn't miss. So they've just been able to rotate those key position players and with McInerney the ruck really well and have a really balanced team across the ground.
The Brisbane Lions have made their way out onto York Park in Launceston, so they've been running hot, having won their last 5 matches. They've won 12 of their last 16 quarters, so they've been a very consistent side over the last few weeks with wins over Collingwood by 7, the Suns by 52, Sydney by 24, the West Coast Eagles by 75 and Adelaide by 36 points. Their only loss so far this season came at Kardinia Park to the Cats by 10 points. And one of the great parts, obviously, of this round, Corby, is the storytelling and the jumpers in which we see. So the Brisbane Lions going with the old the Bears-Lions combination. It's probably more Bears than it is Lions, but the storytelling aspect, which plays such a pivotal role in this round and the link between the past and the present for the players that are competing. It's no doubt the highlight on the AFL calendar apart from finals from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of meaning behind the Brisbane Lions jumper. So it was designed by Darryl White, of course, a 3-time premiership player with the Brisbane Lions. This year marks 25 years since the merger, so since they've been a joint venture. It's also 20 years since the 2002 premiership. So the design features both footprints from Lions and Bears as part of the jumpers, leading to their 3 different home grounds at the Gabba, Carrara and also Brunswick Street Oval, so all represented as part of the jumper, including the names of the Indigenous AFL players and trainers who have represented the club. One of them is Ringo Hood, who was a trainer in the old Fitzroy days when the club merged with Brisbane, so he is also represented on the jumper as well. Meanwhile, the Hawthorn Football Club, so essentially if you're trying to paint the picture, the Brisbane Lions jumper is very similar to the old Bears jumper. It's got the yellow marking for the V on the centre of the jumper, and they're predominantly in maroon with the home shorts on. The Hawks are predominantly in yellow. They've got the white shorts on. The Hawthorn have collaborated with Mimi and Jinda, which is an Indigenous Australian art business founded by Aboriginal mother and daughter Lauren Jarrett and also Melissa Greenwood. It depicts community, which is Hawthorn's primary value. So on the front of the Guernsey, it tells the story of the Hawthorn community coming together from different homes and tribes across the country. And we see the journey of the families around, the families travelling under the sun and the stars to the central meeting place. So that point on the jumper is represented just under the collar. And the reason for that, Clinchy, is to obviously be the highest point of the Guernsey, speaking to the fact that it's the most important value, the sense of community and family and the role that plays in the Hawthorn Football Club. So predominantly yellow with a splash of brown.
It's always great seeing the highlights that take place in the lead up to the round, the Indigenous superstars of our game, and Darryl White was one for Brisbane Lions who could do it all, really.
Did you hear him during the week?
Loved his comment. Yeah, loved it.
Saying
really
that who would win out of the best Brisbane or the best Hawthorn. He's geez, all us boys are about 40 now. So
50, he said.
Still from Scotty Pippen or something.
Probably probably the current team, because we're all 50 odd. Yeah.
I think only by a couple of goals, though. I think he was conceding to Vossi and Acker, and a few of those guys would still be able to mix it with the current crop. You asked the question of Jack Gunston in terms of the great season for Lachie Neale. Who would you imagine? Sam Mitchell's not really the type of coach who's going to let it play out. You can imagine he'd be proactive in thinking about someone who they might send to him today. Have you got a thought or two? Well,
traditionally, you would think of Liam Shields. Now, he hasn't played that role much this year. He's tended to. McGuinness has played certainly on the or done run with roles more on the outside though. With his running capacity, but he's out of the team. So Shields the obvious one, and I think it's a good role for him if he's going to play in the side. I think you can develop a newcomer and some of those other young mids by just letting them do what they do best, and have Shields as that more defensive mid. And I think you do have to play someone on Lachie Neale mids. I think you can't just let him run around. Again, we saw it with Oliver yesterday. He's way too good. He's in too good a form to be left running around unchecked. So to me, Shields looks like a real.
The other one's Howe, because I know Daniel Howe's done quite a couple of good jobs on Trent Cotchin in the past, and he's bigger bodied, stronger. I don't know where you get Lachie Neale though. Do you need to watch him on the spread, or do you watch him all of his stoppage stuff, because he can get you both ways, can't he? So I'd just try to nullify him to make sure that he's not distributing to those runners that we're talking about before, because once they get on the outside, good luck catching them.
He is the player that's having the breakout season, which is strange to say for a Brownlow medalist, but averaging 32 disposals. Dan Rich is the next highest with 24, and last year it was Jared Lyons who had a lot of the leading stats for contested possession, clearances, inside 50s. All of a sudden it's Lachie Neale once again at the very top of those columns, which is no surprise, but it does sort of lend the question is, are they susceptible, Brisbane, if you can take away some of their key pillars?
Yeah, you're right. It's no surprise, and I think it probably talks as much to the fact that he wasn't quite right last year. He really struggled with injury, and at times we can forget. You look at Patrick Cripps as well. I mean, we at times he was almost written off last year, wasn't he? In terms of as the game gone past him, but clearly he was just really ailing and hampered with injury. So Neale was in that same boat. His output was still pretty good, but just the standards that he set the year before, he's got back to those, and it's a joy to watch. But I think he's got a pretty good support cast now. I think there's
how many numbers can roll through
McCluggage. There's and I think that's a real strength of them, that he actually doesn't need to have an unbelievable game for them to be able to perform well.
I think McCarthy spent time in there. They just all keep rolling through.
Zorko chips in as well. So really well balanced side, and it's going to start there today for the Hawks. There's no doubt about it. They have to try and break even through the middle of the ground from a clearance point of view. Otherwise, they're going to be playing a lot of footy in Brisbane's forward half. And with Brisbane's firepower up forward, they'll find themselves behind on the scoreboard pretty quick.
We're on the lands of the Pulawa people. Let's kick it down to the Welcome to Country.
Warranta Lumi UTAS Stadium. Lumi Kanamaluka flows. Lumi Ningi Molaka Pumili Patrula. Warranta Tunapri Ningipi Nungapi Takra Miladina Nika. Warranta Tunapri Pakana Manamapali.
We are here at the UTAS Stadium where the Tamar River flows. Here is where our old people hunted, gathered and lit fires to nurture the land. We stand on their land. We acknowledge our old people who once walked this land. We acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal community of today.
Miladina Manamapali. Miladina Moilatina Warankili. Moyini Kanaplila Kani Minanya Kanigong Tina Mutta. Miladina Tunapri, Milaidina Waranta Lumi.
Country is more than the land. Country embraces the sky, our creation story, our dance, the waterways, the plants and animals. Country is knowledge. Country is our place.
In Tasmania, it's time for a treaty.
Thank you.
And for the official welcome from Graham Gardner and Charlotte Long.
The ceremony has concluded. Sam Mitchell with a final address to his players as they break, and Chris Fagan has pretty much made his dash towards the coach's box. So we're about 4 minutes away from the opening bounce as round 10 of the AFL continues. Hawthorn taking on Brisbane from York Park in Launceston. Let's get another update of the Giants and the West Coast Eagles with Aaron Bryans.
Into the Giants lead by a game-high 47 points with 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. They're moving the ball with ease through the corridor. They're dominating possession by 50. It's been a 6-goal-to-1 second term for the home side. 13-3-81 plays 5-4-34 in the second term. Clinchy, the Giants lead by 47.
Thanks, Aaron. Aaron Bryans keeping us across all the action from Giants Stadium. Of course, the Brisbane Lions, we've mentioned some of their forwards that are not there with Dan McStay and Joe Danaher. They do have Charlie Cameron, though, who is one of the more exciting forwards in the competition. And if you know Charlie, Indigenous round, he'll be keen to step up on one of the biggest stages. And Zach Bailey's another player who all of a sudden is a great goal scorer for the Lions.
Oh, boy, Zachy.
To use a basketball analogy, Lids, they could almost play a small ball if they wanted to, push the big forwards out,
get out of the way.
The ground and play a smaller forward line.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, Clinchy. I like it. I'm disappointed that Charlie's not wearing the long sleeve. I would have liked to have seen that again today. Just with that Harley coming back last week, you give it a few revs. But I think, that ability to play that small ball and utilise their speed, they've just got such a great mix in terms of players who can do that.
We've spoken about James Sicily a lot in this pre-game. It's going to be really interesting to see who he goes to, because we mentioned Brisbane's potency up there, and it really, at any time, they present with 6 forwards who really require attention and are dangerous enough to mean that their direct opponent can't drop off them. So it will be interesting to see whether he goes to a Hitwood or they go with someone a bit smaller like a Lincoln McCarthy.
Yeah, I would have thought that it'd be someone a little bit smaller who can drop off and help out with that Hitwood one, and hope that they do kick it in nice and high. He can catch it and turn it back around. But it'll be interesting to see, because if he sits off too much, they'll go through that player. Yep. And Lincoln McCarthy's shown that he can be that very good hitter, catch it and then kick goals on you and make you look silly. So Rayner's probably the one for mine that could be that mid-size who can catch it but be dangerous. I'd like to see him start to really put some games together, which I feel like he's starting to.
We've just seen the exchanging of the gifts with Kadeen Coleman, Callum Archie and Charlie Cameron out there with Chad Wingard and also Jarman Impey. And so the Brisbane Lions winning the coin toss, and they'll kick to the right of the screen as we see it. Chris Rowbottom's down on the boundary. Chris, welcome back once more. Any advantage to either end this afternoon?
No real advantage to speak of. I did mention a slight breath of wind a little earlier, but really nothing of any significance as we near the first bounce. As you mentioned, Brisbane will kick to the city end or the southern end of the ground.
Thanks, Chris. Chris Rowbottom with us on
the boundary. It's a good result, isn't it, to get a game down there with not much more than a breath of wind. So
and no rain.
No rain as well.
Sun's
so
out.
Perfect down there. That's right.
Cold late this afternoon, though, I reckon.
Boy, I played in a couple of shockers down there, Liz. York Park. I don't know what it's called at York Park back in the day when the Saints used to go down there.
It's just the second game that York Park will host this year. So Anzac Day was the other, a 41-point win for Sydney, but the Hawks led for large periods. Okay. The games before that was the final series last year, of course. They had the 2 elimination finals down there, the Sydney Derby and obviously the Essendon Western Bulldogs game.
The field itself is immaculate. Like the grass is as good as you'll find across Australia.
Yep.
Is everyone thinking the Lions today?
I think so, yeah. Again, off the top, as I said, they seem to be an anywhere, anytime sort of team. So
Frosty starting in the forward line. What's going on here?
Yeah. Interesting. There you go.
There's a little spanner.
So you wonder whether he might have a defensive role or whether Sam Mitchell's thinking, let's try something a bit different and see if we can catch the Brisbane Lions off guard.
Well, even Hipwood, he's not really a big marking player, so the majority of the Lions are better at ground level, so we'll see how it plays out.
Round 10 of the AFL, it's Hawthorn taking on Brisbane from York Park. Sir Doug Nichols round on Grandstand AFL. Here's Corbin Middlemass.
The Lions on a winning sequence and a losing streak for Hawthorn. Let's see if that'll fall this afternoon as Mitchell back in the side in the first clean disposal. A hand pass, but it's McCluggage who picks it off to Neil to Lyons, who bangs it on the boot to centre half forward. Free kick for a hold, and it's going to Fullerton, who'll get it at centre half forward. His first game back for Brisbane, hasn't played since round 4. Former Brisbane Bullets basketballer in the NBL. And Fullerton, he's about 60 from home at centre half forward. He just lays it up. Big fly to Mark McCarthy. He came from the side of the pack about 5 deep, ran to the front and takes it.
Oh, isn't it good when what you say comes true, I suppose, Corby, in a sense. Very bit loose from
Giath, yeah.
From Giath, just didn't really find body, gave him a free jump at it. And, well, we spoke to exactly that, how strong he is over his head for a guy that doesn't stand very tall. And he'll make you pay if you do sit off him.
Played 29 games in 7 seasons with the Cats. He's played 75 of a possible 77 with Brisbane. Lincoln McCarthy for the first of the day, pokes it through. Dream start for Brisbane. They're one straight, Hawthorn yet to score. We're 80 seconds in, Sunday afternoon footy on Grandstand AFL. Brett Delidio and Luke Ball.
Yeah, Giath back into the side. It's going to be the watch. It is the attacking Hawthorn defenders who like to give their opponents a bit of rope. This Brisbane team, they're way too dangerous ahead of the ball. So not the start that the Hawthorn back 6 would have wanted. I'll tell you what I do like, Lids. The Jared Lyons kick out of the centre bounce, didn't try and invent another handball. When there's 6 on 6 ahead of the ball at the centre bounce, get it forward. It drew the free kick to Fullerton across half forward, long kick in deep, and a lovely mark. In the end, it was really uncontested, wasn't it? So need to get some body on him there, young Giath, and perfect start for Link McCarthy, who we know is a confidence player. If he gets one early, he can really have a day out.
5 disposals for the Brisbane Lions for a goal. McInerney wins down the tap for the Brisbane Lions. A chance for Zorko. Hand pass to Neil. Quick 1-2 as Lockie Neal has it, retreating to the back edge of the centre square. Hand pass to Answorth, who works it back to Rich by foot. He can come into the middle of the ground when McCluggage takes the mark. The Brisbane Lions have players on the outer side of the ground. We're running onto it. It's taken once more and a long kick towards McCarthy. This time Jaff in front, brought down to the front. Bailey tackled. McCarthy got it back. He's hard against the boundary and eventually taken across. A boundary throw in up against the left behind post. The Brisbane Lions deep in attack.
That was better, wasn't it? His second goal. He actually took front position there, Giath. Didn't let McCarthy lead him to the ball, and then a great follow-up second effort tackle.
Lions by a goal, deep forward again. Lynch doing the ruck work for Hawthorn, palms it down to Jared Lyons, who's locked up. Feels a bit like a serious mismatch where you look at Hawthorn's weakness is Brisbane's strength. The number 18 clearance team in the competition versus the number 1 in the Brisbane Lions. And we're going to have another ball up here as Neil's tackled by Newcombe. So a ball up 15 out from Brisbane's goal.
Tom Max.
The Hawks ranked last in that category. They were beaten at the centre bounce clearances 23-9 by Richmond last week. From the ball up, Fullerton extracts it, hand pass to Berry, snapping, another goal. Danger signs already for the Hawks. Brisbane have kicked 2 in 3 minutes. The Lions are 2 straight. Hawthorn yet to score. Grandstand AFL.
Well, that's almost exactly what you were just talking about, and their ability to win clearance, but then to kick scores from it as well. I think what we'll find on the replay is that young Will Day just got sucked into the contest and allowed Jared Berry to be on the outside of him, owned his space. But when you've got clean mids in there, guys that can flick it around and break those tackles and get on the outside, that's exactly what he is as a winger relying on. And unfortunately for the Hawthorn, Will Day just come in to try and help, got sucked in a little bit. And Jared Berry holding out and a beautiful finish. Great start for the Lions so far. 2 goals zipped, no score so far, and Hawks haven't really looked like going forward.
The voice of Brett Delidio and Luke Ball with you on ABC Sport. Matt Clinch, Corbin Middlemass and Chris Rowbottom with you. Back in the middle, McInerney once down the tap against Lynch, trying to run onto it. Tom Mitchell stripped off it. McCluggage trying to break the wing guard tackle, gets the hand pass to Fullerton. The Lions runs to 45, another flying shot on goal. This time misses to the left. The Lions by 13 points, and the Hawks have only touched the footy twice.
This is alarming early for Hawthorn. So 3 scores, 20 disposals to 2. And around the middle, 3 centre bounce clearances to Zip, 4 clearances overall to 0.
Good clearance teams do. They're really balanced, don't you? So they really test your nerve.
Yep.
And a lot of times you'll see other teams will collapse in and they'll get the outlet.
Nash trying to exit defensive 50s, kicks a turnover. Andrews takes the intercept mark, so he's got it on the logo of the eastern wing. Brisbane to the southern end of the opening term. The kick heads out to McCartney, who flies, can't mark, spills to Lyons, jams it on the boot, bounces it through. A goal-saving effort on the line. We're going up to the arc, but it looks as if Brisbane have the first 3 in the opening 6 minutes.
Score review. Umpires calls it on.
I reckon he's checked up there.
Yeah. Will Day getting back on the line, and it
review
looks
complete.
as if,
Looking at this angle, we can see the ball was touched before completely crossing the back of the scoring line.
There we go. Goal-saving effort from your man, Lids, Will Day.
Yeah, lost one back the other way, but then gets defensive side as a winger is supposed to do, right in the goal line. As a fat side winger there, gets a touch on it.
So behind Brisbane 2-2, Hawthorn yet to score. The Hawks have only had 3 disposals and already 4 scores for the Brisbane Lions and 4 entries to Zip. The entire game played in Brisbane's front half so far.
4 clearances as well as Hardwick goes straight down the middle for the Hawks towards Mitch Lewis. Flies and brings it to the front. Lockie Neal sharks onto it for the Lions. Gets the hand pass away to Hipwood from 50. It's out to the right. Bounces end over end and McCarthy can't race after it. And a boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Brisbane Lions heading to the city end in this opening term. 2-2-14 to Hawthorn yet to score.
Now the 4 possessions for the Hawks. Lions and Neal have had 4 each. McCluggage 3.
Well, the prime movers involved as Lynch palms it down. Nash for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Day. Free kick, a high tackle. It's coming back to Connor Nash.
We started in the centre bounce, Nash, near Lockie Neal. Keep an eye on that as to whether he's actually got the...
You want to get a little bit closer though, Bally, I reckon, if he's going to be doing the run with. I don't think he is.
It's a smart thing, isn't it? I mean, Lockie Neal is such an intelligent player, high footy IQ.
Nash long kick in front of the members' wing as McInerney knocks it down. Andrew stands up with the footy. He's gang tackled. Day and Newcomb taking the ground. A ball up 60 metres out from the Brisbane goal. The Lions are 2-2. Hawthorn yet to score, and we're only 7 minutes in.
5 inside 50s to none as Lynch wins down the tap to Mitchell of Hawthorn. Hand pass to Day, kicks a long ball towards half forward. Tough one for O'Meara, who tries to race back after it. Gardner's right there with him. He taps it with his right hand over the boundary line for a boundary throw, and the Hawks have at least advanced it to half forward.
This game will probably end under the floodlights somewhat, but yellow Sharon.
After 3 o'clock start.
Yellow and maroon, the shadows, the bright sunshine. It's only 14 degrees, but sunny in Launceston today. Feels like a lot of colour.
Yep. Would this be your twilight time for a grand final?
3:20. Maybe another hour.
Another hour?
Another hour.
Well, you got the shadow issue, don't you?
Yes.
I think you can push it back to 4:40. Go the whole hog.
From the throw in, O'Meara and Neal couldn't be separated, so the umpire throws it up. McInerney wins down the tap. Zorko's over the footy. O'Meara over him. Neal tries to get a hand pass to Berry. Sharked over by Lynch of Hawthorn. Hand pass to O'Meara. Hard against the boundary. Almost run down by Rayner. Coleman knocks it forward for the Lions. Has good support. Hand pass to Answorth. Works it back to Harris Andrews. His kick is smothered. And Berry against the boundary line. It's taken out by O'Meara. 50 metres out from the Hawks' goal. A good tackle from Jager O'Meara. Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Yeah, O'Meara involved a couple of times. He started the game on the bench, and as we know, Hawthorn being smashed in the clearances early, he has gone on, obviously, and gone forward.
Thanks, Chris. You got the top Brownlow votes the last time these two teams met, and Hawthorn's 12-point win late last year. Jager O'Meara from the stoppage. Gardner sends it down the boundary line. It's helped out of play, whacked away from Fullerton, and the boundary throw in front of the interchange. Lions 2-2, Hawthorn yet to score. 9 minutes into the opening quarter, no late change. Lynch works his way to the front, wins the hit out, spills to Nash, kick smothered by Berry, spills to Days, getting a run on the ball, his hand pass a turnover. Neal to Answorth, hands it away to Ford, tumbles a kick down the wing, western side, McCluggage, hand pass out to Berry, kicks to half forward for Brisbane, hand on it from McInerney, no, mark's going to be paid. It's Denver Granger Barras at halfback for Hawthorn.
DGB.
It's a good name, isn't it? Denver.
After the Lions had kicked the opening 2 goals, Hawthorn steadying. Granger Barras long around the wing, spoiled down by Lynch to the front. O'Meara's tackled, but over the shoulder by Cam Rayner. Jaguar O'Meara's starting to get a bit of the footy. Comes in forward with a kick to Jaff, who's off and running away from McCluggage as he takes the bounce. Gets to right half forward, spirals the kick inside 50. Great vision straight to Wingard, who marks on his chest. How good is that from CJ?
Welcome back. That's what we love about CJ when he's back in that team. What's funny is that we regard Hugh McCluggage as a really quick player.
He looked at him, didn't he?
Yeah.
He looked at him.
Like,
they started about level. He looked at him and said, "No, I've got you. Come for a run." And he put 3 or 4 metres on him. Then a lovely kick inside should result in a goal.
Chad Wingard directly in front, 35 metres out, is able to kick truly for the Hawks first. And a much-needed steadier after the Brisbane Lions kicked the first 2 in 3 minutes. It's the Lions 2-2-14 to Hawthorn 1 straight 6. An early goal for Chad Wingard after he kicked a couple against the Tigers last week. On ABC Sport, with Brett Delidio and Luke Ball.
I'll tell you, when you are chasing though, the ground goes uphill a little bit, doesn't it, Bally? So I'll give him the out there. It makes it's a little bit hard, but that's what we love. CJ bouncing off half back, just his ability to open the game up, but go forward with it as well. He could have quite easily just gone back and allowed someone to take his mark and then kick long, but nah, I'm taking this game on. Doesn't matter how quick you are chasing me, I'm going to back myself in. I reckon if he hadn't missed those couple of games, he'd have a little hand on potentially being an All-Australian this year. I've really liked him off half-back. They just need to probably win a few more games.
Just 22 years of age, missed the last 4 with his hammy. What an attribute to have, just to back himself in. Pure speed. Hawthorn with their first through Wingard. Back in the middle. Lions by 8. Fort wins the hit out, then extracts it at his bootlaces. Out to Rayner. Getting a run on the ball. Hand pass back to Fort, the former Cat. Tumbles a kick inside the forward 50. Spills to Fullerton, centre half forward. His hand pass ends up with Bramble. He's taken high. Archie with the tackle. And Bramble, the free kick, centre half back for the Hawks. And he says, let's run. Kicks it out towards Chenkwob Jat. Hand pass to Impey, sends it inside 50. Gee, some indecision there from Frost and Lewis. They look at each other, and the Lions can repel out of defence.
A long kick up towards Fullerton. He had it spoiled away from him, and eventually it rolls out of play in front of Pryor for a boundary throw-in.
Well, that's what happens when you've got a full-back playing in your forward line. A little bit of indecision, but Jarman Impey's the other one who gives them that drive off half-back along with GF.
Harris Andrews with the job on Mitch Lewis this afternoon. Shallow throw in. Fort tries to knock it to the front to Lions. A chance for Rayner. Got a hand pass clear, but the Hawks have the numbers. Bruce with a hand pass to Kaczynski. He sends it long inside the 50. In the end, Frost was worked underneath, and a good mark taken by Jack Payne. He's been playing a bit of VFL footy in defence. They're getting an opportunity in the AFL side. Works it to Starcevich in the left back pocket. Up to Archie at left half back for the Lions. Brisbane by 8 points.
Game number 94 for Callum Archie. Closing in on 3 figures, finds Kitty Coleman, who takes the mark and then swings his drop punt out to the eastern wing. And here's Eric Hipwood with the short hair. Second game back after missing 10 months with the ACL. And the left footer just pokes at it down the boundary line. Got it to McCluggage on the bounce. McCluggage keeps it alive. Hand pass to McInerney. Down at half forward, the Lions. Gee, they all just let go of Berry as he bursts through and sets it up for Darcy Ford. And Jared Berry just bursts through a couple of would-be tacklers. And then the perfect service for Ford at the top of the goal square.
Nice patient build-up, wasn't it? Just the kick and mark, low risk out of half-back. Get it to half forward and then put a bit of energy on the ball. And, it was a powerful bit of play, wasn't it, from Jared? A couple of missed tackles that won't please Sam Mitchell from the Hawks defenders there. But the powerful bit of play by Jared Berry. And
put in the book.
He doesn't miss, does he?
Darcy Ford, in he comes. He's got
Thought
it.
we did it. We did our best.
Squeezes it in. And they get the answer straight back. Brisbane restore a 3-goal advantage. The Lions 3-2-20. Hawthorn 1 straight 6. Make that advantage just 14 points. We're as many minutes into the opening term. Brisbane by 14. Around the grounds, Aaron Bryans watching GWS and West Coast.
Corby, the Giants by 47 points at halftime. They have 10 individual goal kickers off the back of a 7-goal-1 second term. They lead 14-3-87 to West Coast 5-4-34.
What I love about Darcy Ford, he's running with that in-between haircut. He's refusing to grow it long and grow it out, or he's refusing to shave it, and it's just that awkward Jared Grant style microphone.
John C. Riley, someone say?
Yeah, don't mind that. 8 games in 3 years for Geelong. Didn't play any footy in 2021. Is there a spot for him when they all come back?
He's making a case.
Good problem to have, isn't it?
Fort wins down the tap here. Follow up in the ruck. No room to move for Lockie Neal. Footy locked to his chest as he's tackled. Jacob Kajitsky having a run in the ruck for the Hawks here. Fort wins down the tap for the Lions. Gets it to Jared Lyon. It kicks towards half forward. Knock it on Zach Bailey. Combining with Rayner, stripped of it in a tackle by Sicily. Bramble for the Hawks, half past to Howe. He quickly hurries it to Impey, who kicks end over end towards half back. Overrunning the footy was Answorth, and Jago O'Meara emerges with it. Left half back for the Hawks, kicks around the wing, and Mitch Lewis comes charging out. Couldn't take it cleanly, did cannon into Answorth though. So a couple of those little moments, Mitch Lewis dropped the chest mark and couldn't quite take that one cleanly, the bouncing ball. Maybe the frustration boiling over. Harris Andrews probably gave him a nudge into him as well.
Second game back for Lewis after missing a few with the hammy from the boundary throw in. The Hawks win it. Newcomb slips over the most inopportune moment, but got a hand pass through to Nash. Tackled by Fort, got a kick away. Here's Pryor. Great tackle, Kazitsky got him ball and all. And the umpire says no. Pryor, and we'll have a ball up. Half forward here for Hawthorn.
Fort wins down the tap, but straight to Mitchell of Hawthorn. Half pass to Bruce, hurries it inside the 50. Frost brings it down in front, playing an attack this afternoon. Locks the footy up with Zorko over the top. Still having a go. Sam Frost knocks it out to Mitchell. Zorko pinches it, kicks end over end towards the boundary line. It pitched on its point and stopped for a moment. That probably prevented the insufficient intent to keep it in, and the umpire says throw it in.
It's at 19 tackles already, the Hawks, halfway through the first quarter. So it's a little bit about having a lot less of the footy. They've had 30 less possessions, but they have lifted their intensity around the contest.
Brisbane 3-2-20 to the Hawks 1 straight 6. Fort knocks it down to the front. Zorko slaps it on, worked it cleverly. A kick end over end around the boundary line. That will be intentional. And Starcevic's best efforts to try and gain some territory, unsuccessful, as the umpire says. A Hawthorn free kick the way of Dan Howe.
That's where you'd love to give the umpire the footy and say, you show me how you would have kicked that any better or any differently to what was done.
Howe down to half forward, but it's coming back. Fought the spoiled lines. Hand pass to Zorko. Kicks to McInerney around his bootlaces. Hawks with the numbers. Granger Barash hands it to Jaff. Kicks to the logo members wing. Comes to Newcomb. Hand pass to Mitchell. Tries to give it to Jaff. Not a great hand pass. And Pryor just wraps up. No, in fact, he was tackled by Jaff without the footy. They both went to ground. It's a Brisbane free. And Pryor's going to get the free kick. The 20-year-old, and now he's going to be marched 50 downfield.
Percent, was it? Did I hit?
I think you're right.
It's umpire Jakey Mollison. I've had the odd run in with Jake a couple of times.
What's the communication been like?
Not good on my behalf. I got fined.
Okay.
That's probably fair. I was upset.
And he's a good kick of the footy too, Jackson Pryor, and a long kick as the left footers often are.
It's hard to know what that was for, actually. Yeah, whether it was descent or in the protected area. Anyway, it's a bad couple of blues.
Only 7 goals in his 24 games. Pryor moves in, left-footed drop punt is pure. Through it goes. Pryor kicks one and Brisbane are out by 20. 18 minutes into the opening term, the Lions 4-2-26, Hawthorn 1 straight 6. Grandstand AFL, Luke Ball, Brett Delidio.
Just kills you, doesn't it? It's a big penalty. And the lead up to that, the handball, I reckon the sun's playing a bit of havoc out there. There's a lot of shielding of the sun, and the handball to GF though was at his feet. Yeah, he should have been away. That ball should have been pumped into Hawthorn's forward line. Dropped at his feet. He gives away the free kick, and then
so the sun stopped the ball from going to his chest, or what are you saying?
Yes,
there?
That's right. I'm going to give the handballer an out. That's right.
Tommy Mitchell won it pretty well off his toes, but then it landed right at GS feet, which at full stride, that's pretty hard to take, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And it's just a little attention to detail thing, and it results in a goal going the other way.
Brisbane Lions out by 20 points. Back in the middle. Mitchell almost with the clearance. It was smothered though. Tries to ricochet back after it. Gets the hand pass to Newcomb, who brushes off a tackle. Underground hand pass to Nash. He can't get past Bailey. Does get a hand pass forward to Shields. Run down Newcomb. Great pick up. Nash spun out of traffic. Kicks towards the teeth of goal. Spoiled down by Mitch Lewis. Front and centre. No chance in the end to get a hand pass away from Butler. Now Bruce over the footy. It's locked up underneath him with Starcevic now over the top, and the umpire will throw it up just 25 metres out from the Hawthorn goal at the northern end here of York Park.
Come back this way, guys.
A bit double grabby at the moment, the Hawks. Might seem a bit cleaner.
They got their first centre clearance of the game at least. Small wins. They're down 20 here. Ball up, 20 out from their attacking goal. Andrews through traffic, jams it on the boot. Leaping up, Tom Mitchell on the mark will be paid. Had a one-on-one with Bailey, and Mitchell takes it 45 out dead in front. Dare I say it, Lids, has he got it in him from here?
It's a good question. He's a bit of a jammy, isn't he? Little jam tin, Tommy Mitchell, but he'd be telling the boys, did you see that contested mark or clear the grass? Big, powerful mark it was over Zachy Bailey.
He started well. This will be his 9th possession, so back into the team. He's covering the ground well.
The Brownlow medalist out last week, managed, back today, left-footed drop punt, sails, goalward, he's got it. Through it goes. And Hawthorn cut Brisbane's lead back to 14. And Tom Mitchell with a little tap to his armband and a point to the heavens as well. 21 minutes into the opening quarter, the Lions by 14 points. 4-2, Hawthorn 2 straight. Mitchell with a goal on his return.
Never in doubt, mate.
Yeah.
Well, he's got it almost,
over the silo.
He's stuck it to you there, mate, isn't he?
Well, he's never been renowned for his long penetrating kick, but he certainly knows how to fight it. Never had an issue there.
And he was the one who generated the centre clearance originally too, so almost sensing the moment that someone had to get them going. A bit fortuitous with the scrappy kick out of the defensive 50 stoppage from Harris Andrews, but that's what can happen, and he was in the right spot at the right time. Much needed goal for the Hawks.
The Hawks with their second goal. The bounce should be recalled. It's not, as it sprays out to the left. Newcomb charges out of the middle, hurries a kick inside 50. It's wide of O'Meara. Coleman couldn't take it. Here's a chance for Kajitsky. Gets the hand pass out. Butler's flying shot on goal. That'll work off the right boot. Sam Butler with his first goal in AFL footy, and they come from everywhere to celebrate with him. The younger brother of Dan, of course, with the Saints at the moment, had to crack away at VFL level before getting an opportunity at AFL level. Picked 23 in 2021. And back-to-back goals for the Hawks in quick succession. All of a sudden, they're 3 straight 18 to the Brisbane Lions 4-2-26. It's an 8-point margin, 22 minutes gone opening term.
Yeah, we spoke about the work of Tom Mitchell to get that previous clearance. That time it was John Newcomb bullocking his way through, fend off, dump it in. Wasn't a great kick coming inside, but then it was just forward pressure and attack. And great for the young Butler to get his first goal. There's quite a few GWV boys out there, the Rebels boys. I know the Lions have got quite a few. In McCluggage and Berry. Now we've seen Butler as well for the Hawks.
We love the first goal in AFL footy, don't we? Just about every Hawk in the vicinity got around him. 8 points the lead for Brisbane, but Hawthorn going forward again. Newcomb out of the centre square, kicks to the top of the goal square. Bruce at the drop, can he get boot to ball? Not quite. Helped through by Andrews on the goal line. Bruce ended up on his backside trying to kick it off the ground. And a minor score. Ooh. Hawthorn with the momentum. Great goal-saving effort from Harris Andrews. Looking at the replay. Brisbane 4-2, Hawthorn 3-1. We're 23 minutes into the opening term. Lions by 7.
Just a centre bounce work. The last couple have been Newcomb. A couple of missed tackles that won't please Chris Fagan from the Lions mids, but their last 3, the Hawks, have been able to get it out of the centre.
Rich into the back pocket for Zorko. Short to Neal, gives it back to Zork, who kicks along towards Hipwood, outnumbered, good mark. Denver Granger Barras takes the mark for the Hawks. So they've steadied Hawthorn after Brisbane kicked the first 2 goals in the opening 3 minutes. All of a sudden it's 9 inside 50s apiece. Back to Sicily. Slightly risky tick that hung in the air for a moment to Hardwick. Short to Tom Mitchell. Still at right half back for the Hawks. Comes inboard. Jai Newcomb takes the mark down low. So the Hawks happy to control the tempo for a little while. Back to Impey, still at centre half back. Lions by 7 points. Works it up to Shields by foot. He still has a defensive side, and then running through the protected space was Link McCarthy, and he's given away the 50-metre penalty.
He did it.
Oh, he did.
Well, it was one of those ones he was tracking the Hawks player who split and went behind the ball carrier.
It's really good play by
I thought
Impey.
he was stuck in there and ran out. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's good play by Impey. You've got to go with him.
Yeah.
Even if you crash into the back of Shields, you should have blokes running past every single time. Try and get those.
So it takes Liam Shields all of a sudden to within scoring distance. In his 14th year, the three-time Premiership Hawk, normally so reliable and durable, comes in, strikes it pretty well. All of a sudden, it's a one-point ball game. 3 goals on the trot for the Hawks in 5 minutes, and the Lions lead by a point. 4-2-26 to Hawthorn 4-1-25. 25 minutes gone, opening term on ABC Sport.
It's a goal apiece now after a 50-metre penalty. Just, again, it's that, the penalty versus the crime. It doesn't seem quite right sometimes, but you're right. You've got it's another attention to detail thing. And Shields, whether he meant it or not, was smart enough to get the split on his opponent and went back and kicked it nicely, approaching his 250th game. He's been a warrior, hasn't he? Unsung sort of warrior for the Hawks.
Yeah. You always know what you're going to get from Liam Shields, don't you? Just effort, tackle, chase, pressure.
He strikes you as the kind of guy that would be a coach's favourite. Give him a job, and he would do it to the best of his ability.
Really tough to play against too when he walks over to you.
McInerney wins it down to Neil. Hand pass over his shoulder to McCluggage. Advantage applied as Neil was dumped. So centre break for Brisbane. Kicks to Fullerton, who takes the mark. Granger Barras slips over. And Tom Fullerton marks right half forward. 50 out for the Lions.
It was just a big dump kick inside. Well, they took the advantage. Tackle lingered on Lockie Neal. It was a nice catch in the end.
Yeah, he's just okay, isn't he?
Just got some separation on Granger Barras, did some body work.
Fullerton, this is his second game for the year. Right-footed drop punt, won't get there. McInerney wheels it in the goal square. The big O with the big grab. And Max Lynch is filthy with himself on the mark.
Yeah, just got his big frame in front, didn't he, and the big long arms. Probably entitled to expect a bit more support there, Max Lynch.
Would have thought.
Yeah, someone coming in from the side, but should be an easy goal here for the big O.
To shift some momentum, he pops it through. Brisbane back out by 7. 27 minutes played in the opening term. The Lions are 5-2-32. Hawthorn 4-1-25. It ends the run of 3 consecutive Hawthorn goals.
Back to the centre bounce, isn't it? Going to be so critical. I mean, they are, we know, across the board this year, but the last sort of 5-10 minutes, it's been Hawks 3 in a row, score. The Lions get one back out. It was Neil again, Neil and McCluggage. So the A team goes back in and work it out nicely. You mentioned Fullerton, who's looked pretty lively.
It's good having a ruckman who can go forward and catch it, though, isn't it?
And he probably hasn't done as much of that this year to this point, the big O. He's had some tall timber down there to deal with. But yeah, it ended up being essentially a one-on-one. So big Maxie Lynch entitled to look around at some of his defenders and say, hey, how about a bit of help in the air?
Oscar McInerney with his 6th goal for the season, back in the ruck competing here. Knocks it down to Lyons, hand pass to Neil, tackle in on possession. And will win the free kick.
He's a thinker, isn't he?
Yeah, really smart. Knew he was going to get tackled straight away, so didn't take possession and drew the free kick.
Neil straight down the middle looking for Zorko, takes the mark in front of MP, who crashes into him right on 50. Zorko works around to the right, trying to gain every metre long towards the goal mouth. Sicily at the back takes the mark. On the behind line for the Hawks. Brisbane by 7 points. Let's check in at Giants Stadium with Aaron Bryans.
Winning to the Giants by 54 points, 14-5-89, playing the West Coast Eagles 5-5-35. Just that 1 point added to the half-time margin.
Thanks, has a 9-goal lead for the Giants as Sicily's exiting kick out of defensive 50's whacked out of play. So a throw in between wing and half forward for Brisbane.
Let's go. Here you guys, kick the metre.
He leads the competition in those marks, James Sicily, number 1 in the AFL in marks taken. We're 28.5 minutes in the opening term here. Brisbane by 7 from the boundary throw-in. Hawks win it. Mitchell, hand pass to Morrison, kicks down the wing. But Jackson Pryor takes the intercept mark. Kicked a goal from a 50-metre penalty early in the term. There's a long left-footed kick. He heads down to half-forward. Fullerton provides an option, spills to Morrison. He's tackled, dispossessed. Fullerton again. Hand pass to Neil. Dancing around the couple. Goes up the left boot himself. High up and under inside 50. Sicily, no mark, but he'll get a free. Had his arms chopped in the air. He'll take it at half-back for Hawthorn.
A 5-year deal for James Sicily down the middle of Newcomb. Cannon into by Fullerton. Slowly gets to his feet. He's got a bit of Sam Mitchell about him, the way he plays. Hard and determined through the middle of the ground to Howe. Gets the hand pass out to Mitchell. Sweeping hand pass forward to Moore. He gets to right half forward. Kicks inside 50. No real intended target. Awkward bouncing ball for Pryor. It dribbles out towards Neal. Couldn't take it. Frost for Hawthorn. Hand pass to Mitchell. Almost ran into his own teammate. Link McCarthy wins the free kick as he lays the tackle holding the ball, and Mitchell had no options but dropped the footy. Lions take it back on the defensive 50, leading by 7 points.
Kick the first of the game, Link McCarthy. Brisbane kicked 4 of the first 5. Hawks drew within a point, and the Lions with the last goal just to steady up. As McCarthy comes to Pryor, he tries to bite off a short kick to Fullerton, and Sicily knocks it out of play, so a throw in on the wing.
You guys. Settled into the game really well, the Hawks, haven't they? Just been able to wrestle it back. The Lions haven't had it all on their own terms. Setting up defensively pretty well.
They've trialled only 3 times this year at quarter time, Hawthorn, so they have been a fast starting team despite the fact they're only a 3-win side. From the boundary throw-in, we're going back out of play as Neal's helped over by Nash.
Yeah.
And touched on Lockie Neal having a better year than his Brownlow winning season. He's had 11 in the opening quarter. He's actually number 2 in the competition for forward half disposals, only Christian Petrarca ahead of him. So far this season, Lockie Neal, he's wrapping up another Brownlow medalist in Mitchell, but falling over the top, McInerney got in Mitchell's back. Free kick for Hawthorn right on halfway, members wing.
He also collected Lockie Neal too on the way through. That was a bit of a nasty one in their face. Keep an eye on that.
Gain 5 metres, Mitchell, long kick towards Kaczynski, couldn't take the mark. Over the top is Pryor. And he's given away the free kick for in the back, so Luke Bruce has it. 60 metres out from home, long towards Mitch Lewis, 2 to compete against. Archie just couldn't quite hang on to the mark. A chance for Kaczynski. Rich rushes back and taps it through for a minor score. 6-point lead the Brisbane Lions way. We played 31 minutes in the opening term.
Just got another look at that. Oscar McInerney, is he coming towards both Mitchell and Neal?
It's the sort of one that can squash your nose, that one.
Yeah.
That's just where you get the hip of the big dopey ruckman.
Yeah.
Cosy got,
I'm glad you said it.
Cosy got me one day. Actually, at this ground. My nose is still hasn't recovered.
You were renowned for having bandages around your nose.
That was the start of it.
So
Friendly fire.
Lockie nearly stayed on the ground after that collision with the hip of his own teammate McInerney, while McInerney, as he came to ground, gave away a free for falling in the back of Mitchell, so got them both in the same sequence from the boundary throw-in, knocked back out of play, half forward for the Hawks. Brisbane lead the game by a goal. We're 32 minutes into the opening quarter. And the Brownlow medalists, Neal with 11, Mitchell with 13. Both the leaders of their respective midfields from the boundary throw-in. McInerney palms it straight to Lions. Another stoppage. Nash lays the tackle on a ball up here. 60 metres out from the Hawthorn goal, kicking to the northern end in the opening term.
McInerney wins down the tap. Pinched by Morrison, though, of the Hawks on the left boot. Kicks inside 50. Flying was Frost. Wingard stayed down front and centre. He's tackled. Tries to knock it on to Nash, but Neal gets in the middle. And his hand pass is out of play for a boundary throw-in.
He called it, Lid. So just the last 10-15 minutes, the Hawks really evened up the game after conceding, giving a decent head start. All the key stats, tackles, clearances, contested footy, possessions.
Not officiating, the umpire said Lockie Neal was into Jai Newcomb, so he'll take the free kick at left half forward. Lockie Neal turns 29 on Tuesday. So Brownlow medalist alongside Tom Mitchell, 28 years of age at the moment as well. Not a lot in that, as we said.
Come on. That's woeful.
Even Jai might be embarrassed to be taking that. Sends it long to the goal mouth. Spoiled away by the Brisbane Lions defence. Mitch Lewis with the hand pass to Frost. His hand pass pitched by Starcevic, loses it. Comes the big match. Lynch jams it on the boot. Steers it through. Big Maxi with one of his best. His 4th goal of the season. And it draws scores level at the 33-minute mark of the opening term. 5-2, 32 apiece. And after the Brisbane Lions got away to the fast start, this has been a great response from the Hawks ahead of quarter time.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether that warrants a report, given it was a clenched fist and a punch, but not a lot in it, Clinchy, to put it lightly. But look, well done by Big Lynch. Big Avant Marriage, he'd be that proud of the trend setting that he's done over the years. Now he's got Draper, he's got Lynch, all these boys running the mullet as the big ruckman. Nice work though, nice finish from the big fella, picking it up, snapping it over on his left shoulder, right shoulder.
Absolute howler. free kick.
Yeah,
like just a shocker. No feel for the game.
Just Newcombe and Neil shoving each other straight in the midriff, and eventually one of them plucked out and it went against Neil and resulted in a Hawthorn goal, so scores level. Max Lynch with the major for Hawthorn. He's got the footy here in the middle and he's locked up, a ball up again.
It's been good, Lynch, and he's got a good run at it now, doesn't he? He knows he's their number one ruckman for the near future.
No McAvoy, no Reeves, both out injured. McInerney grabs it out of the ruck, kicks it forward. Taken by Zorko, hand pass back into dispute. Archie takes on the tackler, got it to McCluggage. Sweeping hand pass to Jared Lyons, kicks inside 50, and there's Charlie, who takes the mark in that channel at left half forward. He'll shoot from just inside 50.
Well, we spoke about before the game in Bailey, Cameron, Rayner. We've hardly sighted all three of them. They've been starved of any opportunity. Then we see Bailey get his hands on it for his first touch, and lo and behold, just as I'm looking for Charlie Cameron, there he pops up. So hopefully it gives us a little Harley.
Well, every other player on the ground has had a touch except him. It'll come after the quarter-time siren.
There it is.
Start your engines. Through it goes. Charlie Cameron kicks one after the horn to signal the end of the opening term. And Brisbane lead by that goal at quarter-time. Brisbane 6-2-38, Hawthorn 5-2-32. And an entertaining opening quarter in which the Lions kicked 4 of the first 5. They led by a game-high 20 points before Hawthorn kicked 3 in a row and 4 of the next 5 to draw level. And only a kick after the siren to Charlie Cameron gives Brisbane a quarter-time advantage. 6-2-5-2, the Lions by a goal, and a goal kicker's clinchy. Down the page, one for Berry, McCarthy, Pryor, Cameron, Fort and McInerney. While for Hawthorn, I've got one each for Mitchell, Lynch, Wingard, Shields and Butler.
Great to have your company on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital. This is Grandstand AFL.
Massive interest rate cuts from the
25% increase in
infectious.
Keep across the news that matters to you with the ABC Listen app.
Get up-to-the-minute local, national and world news, live and on demand.
US and NATO officials believe
In-depth investigations from ABC podcasts.
Like Triple J's Hack, ABC News Daily and many more.
all the news that matters to you.
With the ABC Listen app.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Fullerton, he's about 60 from home at centre half forward. He just lays it up. Big fly to Mark McCarthy. He came from the side of the pack about 5 deep, ran to the front and takes it. Lincoln McCarthy for the first of the day, pokes it through. Dream start for Brisbane. From the ball up, Fullerton extracts it, hand pass to Berry, stabbing, another goal. Danger signs already for the Hawks. Ball up, 20 out from their attacking goal. Andrews through traffic, jams it on the boot. Leaping up, Tom Mitchell on the mark will be paid. The Brownlow medalist out last week, managed, back today. Left-footed drop, punt, sails, goalward, he got it. Through it goes.
Newcombe charges out of the middle, hurries a kick inside 50, it's wide of O'Meara, Coleman couldn't take it. Here's a chance for Kajitsky, gets the hand pass out, Butler's flying shot on goal, that'll work off the right boot. Long to the goal mouth, spoiled away by the Brisbane Lions defence. Mitch Lewis at the hand pass to Frost, his hand pass pitched by Starcevic, loses it, comes the big match, Lynch jams it on the boot, steers it through.
The Sir Doug Nicholls Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
It seemed like it was going to be a dominant quarter for the Brisbane Lions. It was pretty entertaining to finish with. Charlie Cameron, after the siren of quarter time, has the Brisbane Lions in front by 6 points, 6-2-38 to the Hawks 5-2-32. Matt Klitsch alongside Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Luke Ball and Brett Delidio are your experts. And down on the boundary at York Park, Chris Rowbottom. Chris, what have been your observations from the opening quarter?
Yeah, a couple of interesting ones. Obviously, there was the Hawthorn midfield mix. They rotated heavily through there. We saw Will Day get some hits. Chad Wingard went in, Jagger O'Meara. So they were using 6 or 7 guys. They started to tighten up on Lachie Neale a little bit around the stoppage. John Newcombe was going head-to-head with him a bit, and then Connor Nash had a couple of close encounters, I would say, with Lachie Neale. Oscar McInerney was an interesting one. He spent about 5 or 6 minutes on the bench getting his left pinky strapped. He went went on, then took a really nice mark and kicked the goal, so obviously not too many concerns there. Dane Zorko also come into the game with a slight calf complaint. He's obviously playing pretty well, but they're just managing that throughout the game as well. So no major injury concerns at this stage. Should be an intriguing second quarter of footy coming up.
Thanks, Chris. The subs for the two sides, Cole Hartigan this afternoon and Mitch Robinson. The thoughts of Brett Delidio and Luke Ball with you on ABC Sport.
Well, we've got a shootout, Ball, and it's not what I expected. Certainly know the scoring power of the Lions and the dash and dare of the Hawks. And I think we mentioned during that first quarter that the Hawks genuinely do start pretty well, but they'd be pretty happy to be back in this game after giving up the first 4 goals just about, and they've steadied. They're probably due to their work around the stoppage and just not allowing that free flowing, especially out of centre bounce. We saw Mitchell get a couple, Newcomb get a couple out of there as well. I think it's just going to be who can hold their nerve for the longest in this one. I don't feel like either team's really settled in terms of their back six and their defensive structures. It hasn't been like a slow play, really force them to go slow and long that line. It's been pretty free-flowing and open. Yep. So, once a team can get more control in that sense, but I feel like the Lions, they like to play that fast game, keep the ball moving. We've got speed, so let's keep going with that. So if the Hawks continue to match it, we might get a really high-scoring game. Yeah,
they started to wrestle back the ascendancy of the clearances, didn't they? The Hawks through that middle part of the quarter, and it was Mitchell and Newcomb in particular around the middle that really got them going. And Lynch has been pretty good in the ruck as well, and that sort of allowed them to even things back up on the scoreboard too. So it's interesting. You probably don't want to get caught in a shootout with the Lions, do you? Through the middle of the ground. So. Yeah, at some stage you're going to have to just slow things down a bit, maybe play a bit of kick mark, take a bit of tempo out of the game. And we look at the Brisbane stat sheet. I mean, Zach Bailey, 1 handball, Charlie Cameron just that last kick, and Cam Rayner, 3 small forwards. He's only had the 2 handballs. So there's probably a bit more upside, isn't there, for the Lions in terms of contributions from them across the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Lions started with 7 goals against North Melbourne. It's a 6-goal term, their second best for the season. Bounce to get things underway for the second term. Rayner got the clearance, kicks towards half forward for the Brisbane Lions, but a whistle in the middle of the ground means the Hawks take it on half back. Kick up towards half forward. Dylan Moore becomes the tackler. Careful not to fall in the back of his opponent, Noah Answorth, and the umpire will throw it up right on 50.
Oscar Max.
Up it goes, centre half forward for the Hawks. Lynch palms it down to Nash, who's immediately tackled.
Thanks, Connor.
Max Lynch kicked a goal in the opening quarter. He didn't have a goal in his career until the Essendon game 2 weeks ago. He's now got 4 in his last 3. Obviously still with 3 quarters left in this one to add to that tally. On the outskirts of the stoppage, Wingard first clean touch, hand pass to Bramble under pressure, to Shields, to Howe, to O'Meara under pressure, lost it. Brisbane win it in the middle, Berry hands it to Bailey, kicks inside 50, bouncing 40 to an unguarded goal square, but wrong side of the post. Now behind, Lions by 7, 6-3 to 5-2, early doors second term.
Sicily looks to bring the Hawks back into play from the northern end at York Park. Veers out to the right and then kicks straight down the middle. Coleman couldn't take the mark. It bounced off his chest. Kajitsky, hand pass forward for the Hawks, is picked off by Ridge. And his hand pass is not really to anyone in particular. Coleman picks it up, gets the hand pass away. Neil's long kick inside 50. Hipwood nudged underneath. Good experience from Sicily.
Too good.
Takes the mark 15 metres out from his defensive goal.
Is he in All-Australian form?
Sicily?
Yep.
He'd be putting his hand up, yeah.
Well, the problem is he's probably behind Lever, isn't he? And some of those Wiedering, Lever, May. They're the 3 keys at the moment, standout key defenders. But it's been a great return season. Is there a comeback player of the year award, Cook?
Yeah, we need one of those.
Put him in the running for that.
We can start one, I think, Paulie. That's what we need, is more awards. Nash from the back pocket, kicks down the wing, spills to Newcomb, jams it on the boot to half forward, and Frost to the forward, takes the mark. He wanted to play on ahead of the mark. He's soon learning he has to go back over the mark and stab at the kick out wide to Dylan Moore, who marks at half forward. He's only about 5 metres in for the boundary line on his left-hand side. He'll shoot from 45 out.
That's your line now.
I don't mind the inclusion of Frost in that front half. It can be a little bit chaotic in the back half and makes things happen. So hopefully that freewheeling can go forward for him.
The goalless last week for the first time this season, Dylan Moore. And he hasn't got his kicking boots on yet. He's missed the whole set to the near side, a behind, not even a behind, out on the full. Brisbane by 7 points, 3 minutes into the second term. The Lions 6-3, Hawthorn 5-2. Dan Rich to bring it back into play for Brisbane.
Play on!
Called to play on. Sends it long towards half-back. Mitch Lewis is there.
Hey, James Sicily, stand,
Sicily's going to get the free kick for high contact against Eric Hipwood. The Hawks had it through Lewis anyway. Left half forward. Sicily veers out to the right. Tries to kick inside 50. Where's Kazicki? Flies in the pack. Can't take the mark. Rich works it back for Brisbane. To Andrews. Hand pass to Rayner and now to Coleman in the right back pocket. The Lions can work it out. And the mark is taken by Link McCarthy. Feeds the hand pass back to Rayner. Around the outer side with a hand pass to Coleman. Inboard to Neal. The Lions doing it by hand, and now Answorth goes short. McCarthy involved in the chain once more. Up towards Archie. Chopping the arms against Sicily. And Callum Archie will take it between wing and half forward.
Heads down to half forward. Hipwood takes the mark, rolls and kicks to centre half forward. Leaping for it, Cameron, no mark. O'Meara in the back 50. Hands it to MP, kicks wide over the head of Bramble. Pryor steals it from him. Pryor into the pocket, skidding through Bailey. Takes the sprawling mark up against the fence, right half forward.
Impressive Pryor, isn't he? Yeah, really good attack on the footy. Yeah, great attack on the footy there. Just wanted it more, really. And then threw it on the not-preferred right foot. They're pretty open, these pockets, Lids. Sees a chance from here.
Bailey outside of the right boot on the bender. He's hit the post. Behind for Zach Bailey. 6-4 to 5-2. Brisbane by 8. 4.5 minutes into the second.
Let's check in at Giants Stadium. GWS and the West Coast Eagles. Aaron Bryans.
Clinching the Giants by 48 points. Isaiah Winter had the opening 2 goals of the third. The Giants answering back through Tanner Bruin and also Jacob Ware on debut. They lead 16-5, 101 to 8-5, 53 with 6 to 4.
Thanks, Aaron. Sicily in long to Newcomb. Releases Frost. A couple of bounces as he runs the wing. Looks inside 50. Wingard doubling back. Takes the mark. As Kazicki came out on the lead. Harris Andrews frustrated he couldn't come across to get a fist involved. Chad Wingard with a chance to kick his second deep in the right forward pocket.
It's pretty simple, wasn't it? Long kick, mark, handball, long kick, goal.
Races out, opens the angle, snaps on his left and puts through his second. And after the Lions had missed 2 shots at the other end, the Hawks at the first goal of the second quarter to cut the margin back to 2 points. Brisbane 6-4-40 to the Hawks 6-2-38 on ABC Sport. You with Luke Ball and Brett Olidio.
He won't be happy with that, Chris Fagan. Just the lack of intensity, really, to defend a kick out.
Yeah.
You know, it was even Sicily, just the way he handballed into the pocket. No one really closing the space.
And no one came forward at Frost either, and he was allowed to take 2 bounces and ultimately gain an extra 40, 50 metres, wasn't it? So that's why I like it. He's got speed, Frost down there, which can trouble defences, but look at that, get up the ground and then just burn back towards goals. It puts defences under real pressure. No one can get back across to help out. Harris Andrews doing his best. In the pockets these days, it's no-brainer. It's just lay down, isn't it?
Lions by 2. Back in the middle, Lynch and McInerney, as it will be for most of the day. Comes to McCluggage. He hands it to Rayner. Kicks to centre half forward. Howe went without it at centre half back, and his hand passes. He follows up straight to McCarthy. Kicks for Fullerton. Can't pick it up on the half volley. Granger Barras tackled without it. Hipwood just dumped him. He didn't have the footy. And Granger Barras in the back pocket will get the free for Hawthorn.
Stand.
7 minutes into the second term, Brisbane by 2 points. Hawthorn footy, last line of defence.
Just a few little worrying signs for the Lions, for mine. Just going through the motions a bit. Need to dial up their intensity a bit.
Granger Barras long towards Max Lynch in front. Daniel Rich takes the mark for Brisbane. He has it at left half forward with the Lions leading by 2 points. So reliable with that lethal left foot. Sends it inside 50. Archie up, couldn't take the mark. Berry tries to swat it back to him. Hand pass to Bailey. Mitchell's tackle over the shoulder. Zach Bailey has it. 55 metres out from goal, but hard out to the left. Has been a goal scorer this season with 21 goals. He's looking to square this up, but Nash sets himself in front of the lead of Zorko. Takes the mark 30 metres out from the defensive goal for the Hawks.
Hand pass to Impey. He's going to head out to the eastern side of the ground. Dangerous kick, and Answorth Floats through, takes the intercept mark between wing and half forward. Short kick to the 50. And floating down, Jared Lyons takes the mark.
That's it. Play on.
Hand pass away to Rayner. Pokes the kick to Zorko, who marks right half forward, closer to goal. He'll kick from 35 out.
Well, it's the first time we've seen a couple of repeat entries, isn't it? The first one comes out, Rich marks, go back inside, and that one, Answorth, just chopping it off. Quick handball. Nice little touch kick from Cam Rayner.
Dane Zorko, set shot is pretty good, but fades late. A behind. So Brisbane have 3 behinds for the quarter. Hawthorn the only goal. 8.5 minutes into the second term. Brisbane by 3.
Play on. Play on.
Sicily plays on for the Hawks, and then with a raking right boot, kicks out towards CJ. It's going to trickle out in front of him. And he has a bit of a look back to his fellow defender. Just not quite on the same page. He's quick, but not that quick.
I was going to say, he walked out of the square. This is where I almost feel like that should be a free kick.
Me too.
Because of the error. He's lucky, though. He walked out of the square. Play on was called, so it's not the traditional free kick for not being touched from the kick out of bounds. Throw in.
Dane Zorko was doing his best to try and convince the umpire it might have been. McInerney from the throw-in wins down the tap. He and Lynch scramble for it at ground level. Cam Rayner onto it, trying to fend off a tackler, and then hurries a kick inside 50. Where's Hipwood? He spoils it down to the front. Zorko ran onto it. CJ's got him. Jaff with a great tackle. It locks things up 35 metres out from the Brisbane Lions goal. Lions by 3 points. 9 minutes gone, second quarter.
Hawthorn rack match.
Dane Zorko getting a little lippy, and the umpire in Paul Rabbicini just says to him, mate, give me the footy back and let's go. So he restarts play. Granger Barras, hand pass to Mitchell for Hawthorn, to Bramble, back to Mitchell. Hand pass out to Nash. Off the back flank, advantage applied. The Hawks got a free kick behind all of that, so Will Day's off and running. Sweeping hand pass out to Butler. Butler trying to get back onto his preferred side. He's closed down by Answorth. Hand pass back to Day. Still on halfway, Hawthorn. Day kicks to half forward in the contest. Andrews brings it down. Bruce goes to ground. He's taken high.
Harris, straight up.
The tackle slipping from Andrews. And Luke Bruce will get it 70 out left half forward.
Play on.
The Hawks are about to go deep inside 50. With the sunshine poking through as it sets behind the Western Grandstand. Kicks inside 50. Frost with the pack mark. And Sam Frost can have a set shot just left of centre from 15 out.
So far it's been a masterstroke ball. He sending the big fella down there. He competes. That's probably the biggest thing, and that's probably why they've sent him down there. But we'll soon find out whether it is as easy as they all tell me, the backman, popping them through.
Well, Darcy Cameron was looking around for Harris Andrews.
Frosty the forward. He's kicked it. Hawthorn are in front. And Sam Frost with his first goal since round 9, 2017. Back when he was a Melbourne footballer. His first for the Hawks comes in round 10, 2022. Hawks by 3 points. First lead change of the game. Hawthorn a 7-2-44. Brisbane 6-5-41. 11 played in the second.
Darcy Gardner, I should say, looking around for the big fist of Harris Andrews that usually comes and helps out in the air there. Andrews was caught high, manning the mark at half forward there. So, yeah, I just said before, some worrying signs of lines. A couple of times the Hawks this quarter have been able to transition the footy a little bit too easily, I think, for Chris Fagan's liking, from their defensive 50 into their forward 50. And you're right, Lids, so far so good for the big fella. He's certainly athletic and lively and competes hard in the air and on the ground. So, yeah, I like it. I'm with you.
Sam Frost with his 9th goal in his AFL career in 139 games. Max Lynch caught one right in the face from the knee. Did get it down to Newcomb, though. Kicks towards half forward. Bruce could have been held by Starcevic. No free kick. The Hawks still come up with it. Morrison with a hand pass to Shields. Inside 50. Mitch Lewis has got it.
Good hands.
The Hawks have found their mojo. Frost a few moments ago. Now Mitch Lewis. He's kicked a goal in every game so far.
15 seconds gone.
And a chance to try and extend the Hawks' lead.
Missed tackle, Zorko. It's just starting to just build up a bit now. The Lions, they're a bit off. They've given the Hawks a sniff, and the Hawks are good enough. They're dangerous enough to take it.
Point blank range, 20 metres out. Mitch Lewis comes in and completes the deed. And Hawthorn with a couple of goals in a couple of minutes. All of a sudden lead by 9 points. 8-2-50 to the Brisbane Lions, 6-5-41. 12 minutes gone, second term on ABC Sport at one stage. The Lions led by 20 points at the 18-minute mark of the opening term.
Well, we spoke about Bruce probably could have got a free kick there for a hold on Ainsworth, but it was the cleanliness of Will Day and his ability to stand up and break through that tackle, handball it off to Shields. It was just a nice kick, but good strong hands from Mitch Lewis. Had Gardner coming over the top, but was able to hold firm, backing back into the pack. Nice strong grab and a good finish.
6 the last 8 now for Hawthorn. After trailing by 20 points, as Clinchy mentioned, as we ticked into time on in the opening term. Back in the middle, Jared Lyons, hand pass to Neil, very clever. Didn't take possession, just taps it to Berry's advantage off the wing. Drives it deep forward, Hitwood flies, no mark. Bailey throws his boot at it, but he's offline. Minor score. So Brisbane 4 behinds in the quarter, no goals. The 3 goals in the term all belong to the Hawks, and Hawthorn lead it by 8 points at the 14-minute mark of the second quarter.
Let's check in at Giants Stadium. GWS and the Eagles, Aaron Bryans.
To the Giants by 50 points with a couple of minutes remaining in the third term. They have 11 individual goal scorers, 17-7, 109 to the Eagles, 9-5, 59.
Thanks, Ads. Hardwick long out of defence for the Hawks. A chance for Fullerton. Hand pass to Berry on the left boot. Shimmies a kick inside 50, but Sicily takes the intercepting mark against Eric Hipwood. Veers out to the right, looks to go straight down the middle. An attacking kick to Mitch Lewis. He's outnumbered 2-on-1. And Darcy Gardner, the ever-reliable defender, takes the mark. Quickly moves it to half forward. Fullerton takes the mark. Has it at the edge of the centre square. Still a good 2 kicks out from goal. Sends it into the right forward pocket. Coming out, Hipwood on the lead. Couldn't take the mark. Bailey front and centre. Tackled by CJ. Just making sure his tackle didn't slip over the shoulders. As the ball's locked up deep in attack in the right forward pocket for the Lions. Hawthorn by 8 points.
Max Tom. Umpire Abicini trying to pick the ruckman. He's got him now. So Fullerton and Lynch, and there's a free kick off the ball anyway. It's going Daniel Howe's way. It was put down by Zorko, so Howe takes it quick, and the Hawks playing with a bit of pep in their step. Swings the kick out to Sicily, goes long down the western boundary line. Gardner gets there first. He's dumped after kicking the footy. It's out of play. A boundary throw in between wing and half forward for Brisbane.
How long are we going to keep going with this nomination of the ruck thing? Seriously.
Not happy with it?
Oh, it's just a waste of time.
Oh, what I don't get is why they wait.
Why do they wait?
You get one chance to nominate and then straight up it goes.
Also, while I'm at it, bring back the third man up rule. That was good. Lead the contest.
8 points, Hawthorn's lead. 15.5 played second term. For the boundary throw in down to Mitchell. Neil runs him down in the tackle. And insufficient attempt, you heard the call. Mitchell, as he's going to ground, being tackled, hand pass to the boundary line, and Neil's going to get a free kick in front of the interchange gates.
Leading possession getter on the ground, Tom Mitchell with 16 and a goal. Neil to half forward, Hipwood, big fly in the pack, couldn't take the mark. Lions with the hand pass to Fullerton, kicks inside 50. Charlie Cameron 1-on-1 with Hardwick. Hardwick go away the free kick, a hold. Had the arms around, as you heard from the umpire there. Not a lot in it, but just the fear of the speed of Charlie.
No, this is okay. Yeah. Daniel, 3 more metres, please.
Just coming out on the lead and trying to twist and turn Hardwick.
Nothing in that. Pretty hard done by, I reckon.
Charlie Cameron had kicked his first after the siren of quarter time. He's going to start on the angle, step out on the right, snap across his body, and overcook it. Curled just a fraction too much. Missing to the left-hand side. Hawthorn by 7 points. 16 minutes gone. Second term, ABC Sport.
High on.
Jankwoff Jack from the kick out. Runs a bit of away out to the back pocket and then goes long to the wing. Spills off hands to Jackson Pryor. Jams it on the boot, but it's out on the full. The free kick for Hawthorn at half back. So Hawks by 7 points. They've kicked the only 3 goals of this second quarter, which is 17 minutes old. And Jaff waiting for something. Doesn't see it, so just kicks to a contest on the western wing. Fort puts his fist through it. Straight down into the path of Will Day. Hawthorn back in possession. Kicks across the ground. Butler on the bounce. Runs onto it. Eastern wing. Short kick. Down to Wingard, who takes the mark just forward of the wing for Hawthorn.
Looks to move it forward from the eastern side of the ground, inside 50. Mitch Lewis is there, can't take the mark, spills out in front of Fort, who rips it away from Moore. Kick is smothered by O'Meara. Still a chance for the Hawks, although Starcevic is onto it. Fires out a hand pass, out in the path of Berry at right half back. Sends the Brisbane Lions around the eastern wing. Spoiled down by Fullerton, trying to combine with Link McCarthy. Little toe poke to him, then snaps around his body towards Zach Bailey. One-on-one with Sicily. Bailey had him and then fumbled it. Gathers and turns boundary side. Kicks into the pocket. Here's Charlie. Can't take the mark. Hardwick slipped over. You know how that ends. Charlie is out. Kicks on the left and puts through his second. Too much speed for Blake Hardwick. And once he twists and turned, that was all she wrote. And Charlie kicks an important goal for the Lions to cut it back to a 1-point lead Hawthorn's way after the Hawks had kicked 3 goals in the second term. Hawthorn 8-2-50 to the Brisbane Lions 7-7-49. The Lions' first goal since Charlie after the quarter-time siren.
Yeah, nice finish, wasn't it? Just a couple of Hawks defenders letting their dangerous opponents getting goal side. Zach Bailey's been a bit busier this quarter, hasn't he? He's up to 5 possessions for the quarter. And yeah, Hardwick, desperate lunge, just had to find a way to get the ball out of bounds, didn't he? And once it was over the back, Charlie's pretty hard to stop there. And he might have got a little trip on his celebration. Then the Harley just stuttered. Someone, yeah.
Is that just about the nightmare? Your dad talks about the bear tamers, one-on-one with Charlie in the square.
Yeah.
That's where you don't want to be.
You want speed. Kaczynski rucking for Hawthorn, wins the tap down to O'Meara, who's tackled.
It was an important goal, the Lions. The Hawks all over them in the last 10 minutes.
Secondary ball up, Cozzy again, first hands on it, but Neil gets the centre clearance now for Brisbane. Charlie leaps up, taps it on. McInerney likewise, but into the path to Howe. Under pressure for Hawthorn, back pocket, hand pass to Granger Barras to Sicily. Knocks it down to Hardwick, kicks for Jaff, missed him. Over his head and it skids out of play. Forward pocket for Brisbane. A boundary throw in.
So often the case, just when they need a bit of a lift, Neil goes into the centre bounce. He's had a big 3 minutes, Lockie Neal.
Up to 14 disposals for the match. Lockie Neal behind Tom Mitchell with 16. Thrown back in. Oscar McInerney in front. Tries to swat it to the advantage of Lions. Fullerton over around the footy. Days toe poke straight into the body of Lions. It's stuck underneath him and Daniel Howe. Up 25 metres out from the Brisbane Lions goal. At the northern end of York Park in Launceston. Umpire throws it up. Kaczynski easily removed by McInerney. His kick was smothered though. Impey's hand pass to Howe for the Hawks, to Sicily. Hand pass boundary side to Hardwick. Works it back to Jaff. Under pressure, he spirals a kick towards Mitch Lewis, who marks on his chest. Still inside the defensive 50. Took a step off his line, played on, kicks up to Newcomb. At the back edge of the centre square for the Hawks.
Short kick across the centre square to Morrison. He just pokes it out in front of space for Mitchell to run onto. Gets there on the bounce, lays a hand pass to Sicily, who keeps on moving. Gives it back to Mitchell, 60 out, kicks inside 50, over the head of his intended target. Fought for Brisbane, hand pass to Answorth, he's under the pump, lost it. Dylan Moore, half forward for the Hawks, 1-2 with Bruce. Still with Moore, centre half forward to Morrison, to Newcomb, off a single step. Newcomb's kicked it. John Newcomb pops it through on the standing start for Hawthorn. And the Hawks restore a 7-point break as we tick into time on in the second term. Hawthorn 9-2-56, Brisbane 7-7-49. John Newcomb with his third of the year.
What I love about John Newcomb is he's uncomplicated. He just sees the footy, goes and wins it, and then sees, right, I'm going to stiff arm you, you come at me, sees the goals, I'm going to have a ping, backs himself in, doesn't overthink, doesn't try to create too much and step through too much. He just goes, right, I'm going to make this happen. Some good, real sharp hands in there.
Powerful kick, isn't it?
In it, one step, yeah. Bang from 50 and knocks it through to the fence.
Get the lines being exposed on the transition though, especially in particular that fat side of the ground. That's something that Fagan will really have to look at.
They've had just 4 of the last 10 scores, and yet Hawthorn find themselves 7 in front. Here's Lockie Neal, surges out of the middle, long to the goal mouth. It clears Fort and CJ and bounces through. What a great individual effort from Lockie Neal. I'll do it myself. Gets the clearance and a long-range bomb which bounces through. Just what the Brisbane Lions needed. Hawthorn's lead back to a point. Their second goal of the quarter. The Hawks 9-2-56 to the Brisbane Lions 8-7-55. The Hawks have put on 4 at the other end. 22 minutes gone, second term.
Great to watch, isn't it, when a champion player just senses that his team's going a bit ordinary, they're a bit flat, and he just inserts himself into the game. His last 5 minutes have just been magnificent, and that's why he's a Brownlow medalist. That's why we know he's one of the top elite players in the competition.
Don't reckon we see enough goals out of the middle like that, like we used to.
The 666 allows for it, doesn't it?
It does, but we don't see enough of them, I don't reckon.
Yep. I don't reckon we would have seen that from Lockie Neal in previous years too. That's a bit of a tweak in his game as well, and a bit more ownership over what happens in that midfield. Crooked bounce in the middle up, lets them roll. Rich had it, coughed it up. Mitchell gives it to Morrison. Hand pass inside 50 won't matter. He's caught holding the ball. And Archie will get the free for Brisbane. He swings it out to McCluggage, who marks defensive side of the wing. Heads down to half forward. Strong grab, Rayner in front of Jath, who clearly stepped over the mark. Umpire gives him the benefit of the doubt. He goes short and across back to Kitty Coleman, who marks on the eastern wing. Hawks by a point. Time on second quarter.
Inboard to Starcevic has almost worked its way back into the centre square. He's kicked to Coleman, not all that cute. And now Nash wrestles with the footy. Rips it away from him, the Irishman, dumped in a tackle by Zorko. And the umpire says he'll ball it up.
Well, that might have just landed square in his back, but just couldn't quite get the ball out to get him going forward again, the Hawks.
Tossed up in the middle of the ground. Max Lynch wins it down to Mitchell of Hawthorn. Hand pass to O'Meara. Kicks towards half forward. One direction. Kazitsky, Rich the other. Rich a bit ginger, but gets the hand pass from Coleman. He seems okay now. On his left boot. Kicks up towards half forward. Another lace out pass. Beautiful service to Zorko, who waits it over the top. And here's Lockie Neal again. Just the hardest worker on the ground. Pushing inside 50. He marks 45 metres out directly in front.
Yeah, it's a good call, Clinchy. It's work rate. It is. A couple of times we've just seen him just even unrewarded flashing through the screen. He's just taken the bit between. And now his teammates, in particular the senior ones, are starting to jump on board a bit. That was a good effort from Rich. Looks okay. Copped a bit of a knock. Good one-on-one effort. Zorko started to lift his rating a little bit as well.
7 goals so far this season. Already has one from a clearance. From a set shot, he drags it out to the left. And just the wrong side of the left goalpost to minus score. Scores level at 56 apiece. Hawthorn 9-2. The Brisbane Lions 8-8. ABC Sport with Matt Clinch, Coleman Middlemass, Brett Delidio, Luke Ball and Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Sicily on the kick out. He's just going to have to bang it long as far and as wide as he can out towards the western wing. Kazitsky competes, spills down to Zorko, who's tackled front on by O'Meara. Ball up, 60 out from the Brisbane goal. Aaron Bryans keeping across GWS and West Coast.
Corby, the Giants by 50 points at the start of the fourth. The Eagles won the third term 4-3, but they'll need a lot more than that. 17-8, 110 plays, 9-6, 60.
Thanks, Aaron. A 50-point game there. It scores level here. Impey off the back flank, kicks Hawthorn down the wing. Little fumble from Newcomb. McCluggage, clean pick-up. Shoots a hand pass to Jared Lyons. Chucks it on the left boot, the top of the goal square. Fort can't reel it in. Socket attempt from Rayner, and then Fort misses it on the goal line. He bounced into the goalpost, and Ford had a fresh air shot trying to soccer it through on the goal line.
Cam Rayner thinks he's got it here. Cam Rayner thinks he's got a toe on it before the fresh air from Darcy Fort. It's not the Fort one. Have a look at Rayner here.
So the umpire's call is a goal.
So it's hit Rayner's foot. So if that's gone over the line, or regardless whether Ford has or not, it's a goal.
It's a goal.
It is a goal, whether it's Rayner or Ford.
So Rayner got the last touch on it. It ends up going over the goal line for a major. But Darcy Ford, like a baby giraffe, just misses it completely.
Then
trying to soccer it through.
And then kisses the post.
Watch his head hit the post here. Well, they won't play it, but my goodness,
So this is going to go into the book as a goal for Rayner.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball makes contact with the Brisbane attacker's boot before crossing the goal line. Decision on the scoreboard.
Well, that is one of the more unorthodox ways to find a goal in season 2022. But it is one. Brisbane are back in front. Second lead change of the afternoon. And Cam Rayner will get the goal as he has a bit of a chuckle with his teammate Darcy Ford. 9-8 to 9-2. Brisbane by that very unusual goal.
I just feel like he's starting to really build into his own career. Bally at the moment, he's probably been, what has he had at the moment? He's got 11 touches. I reckon he's had a patch of games where that's been his total for the whole game. So, spending more time in the midfield, obviously working on his tank, but getting that confidence to really mix it and say, well, I belong here, and that's what where we'll see the best of Cam Rayner. And then he can add those goals as well. He's just that extra powerful midfielder that they have.
Is that a brilliant handball from Hugh McCluggage, just to clear that space and set up the kick in from Lyons and ultimately the goal. Lyons' best players are lifted.
Luke Ball with you on ABC Sport. Nash tries to get the clearance, doing the ruck work here. Out pass to Newcomb. Links up with Max Lynch. Kicks inside 50. Moore couldn't take the mark. Tries to lock it up over the top of Darcy Gardner. Umpire said he wasn't showing too much intent to knock it out, so pays the free kick holding the footy. Moore races around inside 50. It's offline to the right and through for a minor score. He did well to gain an extra 5 metres to almost get within scoring distance. Just couldn't quite steer it straight. Brisbane's lead is 5 points. 28 minutes gone, second term.
Hawks trailed the game by 20, approaching time on in the first quarter, and from that point on, they've largely played the better footy. Brisbane now by just 5. And Hawthorn have led for the majority of this second quarter. Now at the half-hour mark, approaching half-time. Rich to Answorth. The long kick to the contest on the wing. McInerney reaching over the pack. Wins it off the ground. Hand pass away to McCluggage. His kick and turnover. Hawks bang it back inside 50. Answorth takes the intercept mark off the kick from Impey, and he goes short and wide out to Berry, who marks at half-back.
Possession number 10 coming out for Jared Berry. Goes short to McCluggage. Neil with 16. Lyons with 14. Mitchell with 22 for the Hawks and Newcomb with 14. Call to play on, so McCluggage veers around to the right, long down the line towards Hipwood. Can't take the mark. McInerney was there as well. Lynch's hand pass couldn't get it to O'Meara. McCarthy one direction, CJ the other. Here's Rayner, just busts his way through. The bull at it, kicks inside 50, down low. Awkward one for Fort, couldn't take the mark. Archie hit it with pace, brought down by Shields. Great tackle holding the footy.
You just dropped the ball.
And you hear beautifully from the umpire there. Just dropped it.
Time. Stand.
Callum Archie as Liam Shields got him, trying to burst his way through. Shields has kicked to left half back. O'Meara gathers just inside the boundary line. Corralled by McCluggage. Long down the line. Gardner was in a wrestle. Brought down without the footy was Luke Bruce, and he'll take the free kick. Centre wing on the eastern side.
Yet to kick one so far today. Luke Bruce having a fine season again as he heads to half forward. Skids past a couple. Wingard sockers it inside 50. Butler puts his head over it. He's taken high. Free kick for Sam Butler. And the tackle from Gardner. And the Hawks will get a shot at goal here. Left half forward, just inside the 50.
Just a bit crude, wasn't it, from Gardner? He had a couple of free kicks against in the last 30 seconds.
Sam, that's your line, mate.
Has a habit of doing that every now and again. Just losing his way, but
15 gone.
Good for the young bloke in Butler. Already got one today. Can he get a goal? Let's get the Hawks back in front to finish off this second quarter.
Pick 23 in the national draft, the brother of Premiership player Dan Butler. With a number 30 on his back, Sam Butler steps inside the 50. His set shot is good. And the youngest man on the ground has a couple. He returns the Hawks to the front. Third lead change of the game. Hawthorn by a point. 10-3-63. Brisbane 9-8-62. 32 minutes travelled second quarter.
Let's check in at Giants Stadium with Aaron Bryans.
Into the Giants leading by 56 points, 14 minutes remaining in the fourth. Harry Perryman becoming their 12th individual goal scorer. They'll move above Adelaide into 14th. The Eagles stuck in last behind North. 19-8-122 plays 10-6-66. The Giants by 56.
Well done, he got down low and won the footy and drew the free kick. That's all you can do. You're starting off your career. looks like the coach liked it too. He found it very amusing. But he's done well, hasn't he, with his chances in this first half? Kick 2.
Ballarat boy back in the middle. Lynch wins down the tap. Nash over the top of the footy. How the umpire view this? He and Neil both had enough of it.
How about we saw one of those stats? 7 straight from set shots. Hawthorn today.
No breeze down in Launceston today providing any issues. Tap came down towards Newcomb. He's trying to charge his way through. Lockie Neal brings him down and the umpire will throw it up.
Oscar.
Just short of half forward for the Brisbane Lions. Approaching half-time, McInerney wins down the tap, bounces off O'Meara's chest, and Newcomb kicks up towards Chad Wingard. Could have been taken high by Darcy Gardner. And the siren sounds for half-time. Pretty entertaining contest, it must be said, in which the Hawks lead by a point. On a couple of occasions, Brisbane have threatened. They've got out by 20 points in the first quarter, but a second quarter in which the Hawks are able to wrestle a fair bit of the momentum back. And at half-time, it's Hawthorn 10-3-63, leading the Brisbane Lions 9-8-62. So the Hawks, having trailed by 6 points at quarter-time, now lead by a point at half-time. The goal scorers, Chad Wingard has a couple for the Hawks. Sam Butler with a couple as well, individuals to Lewis, Mitchell, Frost, Lynch, Shields and Newcomb. Meanwhile, for the Brisbane Lions, 2 goals to Charlie Cameron, individuals to Berry, Neal, McCarthy, Rayner, Pryor, Fort and McInerney. Half-time from Launceston, it's the Hawks by a point. The thoughts of Luke Paul and Brent Delidio with you on ABC Sport.
Well, it's a pretty even game, you would have thought, Morley, given the score. But I think what I've liked is the ability for Hawthorn not to get overwrought by the star power probably of the Lions and not just say, oh, geez, they've got out to a big start here, we're going to give up, and it's just not our day. You know, they've played with some real confidence, some real flair, and said, you know what, we're not going to stand for that, we're going to take it up to these guys. And yes, the Lions have probably been off just a little bit. You know, they probably looked a little bit lethargic and just needed to get themselves going a bit. And we saw Lockie Neal, you spoke to that, and his ability in that second quarter. But he's been reasonably well held in that second quarter as well. I feel like they put more time and effort into Lockie Neal. Didn't allow him just to run his own race. The first quarter he has 11 touches. That one he only had the 5. Kicked a great goal out of the middle, but I saw O'Meara try and get a bit to him quite a bit, and then I saw Connor Nash also going to him a little bit around stoppage. So they're not just letting him freewheel, making sure that he, you know, if he's going to be there at a stoppage, he's going to have someone next to him. But then you see the emergence of Cam Rayner comes out, has 10 in that quarter, which is great for his confidence, but good for the Lions in terms of their ability to, you know, roll more players through there. So, you know, I feel we haven't seen a lot of defensive, you know, setups in terms of repeat out, in, inside 50s. But at the moment, it's a free-flowing sort of game where we're probably going to see, you know, a nice big score kicked, but also, as you spoke about, Corby, the Hawks are kicking straight, which is always impressive for us.
Yeah, they've been pretty efficient, haven't they, the Hawks? 5 goals from 10 inside 50s in that second quarter, compared with the Brisbane Lions who kicked 3-6 from their 20 inside 50s.
Yeah, that'll frustrate the Brisbane coaching staff. And at times, we spoke about through that quarter, they were able to transition the ball far too easily. And we're used to the Lions' team defence, you know, being really balanced. They hold their width. A couple of times they just left the fat side of the ground completely open, and the Hawks were able to chain the footy from their back half, one from a kick out that was, you know, went 2 kicks down the other end for a goal, and the other one way too easily uncontested chain down the fat side of the ground. So bit of stuff to tidy up there for the Lions in terms of their defence. Yeah, 5 goals, 1 from 10 entries. The Lions actually had 20 entries. You know, that's particularly, I reckon, late in that quarter they got the momentum back, but kicked 3 goals, 6, so wasted a few opportunities. And a bit to clean up off the back of that start. It felt like the Lions just shifted themselves back into cruise control a bit. Weren't willing to do the work, and then when they're challenged, you see, you know, Neal go into the middle, and you see what it looks like when they do dial it up. And you know, he just stood out. His last 5-6 minutes of that quarter were magnificent, and some of his teammates you know, felt the need to jump on board, got themselves back at least level, because it did look like, you know, they'd opened the door for the Hawks, and the Hawks had a bit of a sniff, and they were you know, they were playing some pretty good footy. So you're right, after the start, couldn't be more impressed with the Hawks. They tackled their way back into the game, and they started to level up around the clearances, around the stoppages, and they took their opportunities when they went forward.
Chris Rowbottom is down boundary side. We'll come to him after we get the latest from the ABC News, but let's just get another quick update from Aaron Bryans, GWS and the West Coast Eagles.
Clinching the Giants lead by 62 points now. They're set for their third win of the year and Mark McVeigh's first game as caretaker coach. Still 11 minutes to play, but the Eagles not really firing in this last quarter. Stephen Coniglio has 32 touches. James Peatling has 3 majors in just his 7th game. Previously had never converted a goal and now leading the charge for the Giants. 29-129 plays 10-7-67.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll stay close once we get full time there. And, of course, the final match of the round taking place from the west as the Fremantle Dockers take on Collingwood. We'll take you there at the completion of this game. But half-time at York Park in Launceston, it's the Hawks leading by a point. Let's get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Leaders around the world have sent messages of congratulations to Labor leader Anthony Albanese for winning last night's federal election. Here's Chelsea Hetherington.
New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says she's had a warm conversation with Mr Albanese, describing Australia as the nation's most important partner. In Europe, Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he looks forward to working with Mr Albanese as they tackle shared challenges and demonstrate the importance of common values. France's outgoing Foreign Minister Jean-Yves Le Drian says the result suits him well, adding he hopes Australia and France can reconnect through constructive dialogue after Canberra's cancellation of a submarine deal last year.
Successful Independent and Greens candidates say they're keen to ensure climate action's a top priority for the incoming Labor government. From Parliament House, Elias Kluwer reports.
It's the largest crossbench in modern political times. A total of 15 Greens and Independents have been elected into the lower house, and that number could grow. The Greens won 3 seats last night and are hopeful of gaining 2 more. Leader Adam Band says it's the best result in the party's history.
This was a green slide.
6 Climate 200-backed Teal candidates have also won. Successful Wentworth candidate Allegra Spender says it will put pressure on the incoming government to deliver on climate action.
We need to take more action in this decade.
Nationals leader Barnaby Joyce says their success has come at the expense of the coalition's moderates.
Return member for Durack and former Morrison government minister Melissa Price says she's baffled by the loss of key seats by the Liberals across Australia. This will be her 4th term in what's considered a safe seat, which extends from Northam near Perth to Kununurra near the Northern Territory border. Ms Price says many talented colleagues have lost their seats.
I don't understand it. I don't know if it was a time for change. You'd have to ask the voters, but it is incredibly disappointing.
Labor's victory is set to pave the way for a Tamil asylum seeker family to return to their adopted home in central Queensland. Visa cancellations saw the Nada Salalingam family removed from Biloela 4 years ago and placed in immigration detention. The ALP's publicly advocated for their release. Family friend Angela Fredericks says she hopes that'll happen soon.
It would be a dream come true if, next weekend they were able to be on plane flights home. We understand, we do, we've got to be patient.
North Korea's state media says COVID cases in the country have stabilised, dropping below the 200,000 mark for the first time in 10 days since the start of the outbreak. Official death toll currently stands at 67, but given the country's lack of testing or treatment facilities, experts say it's difficult to assess the scale of the crisis. They say the country's pandemic response appears largely focused on isolating suspected patients. Turkey's President Tayyip Recep Erdogan has spoken to leaders of Finland and Sweden, expressing reservations about the two countries joining NATO. Turkey's objected to their membership, claiming both harbour Kurdish groups that Ankara regards as terrorist organisations. Mr Erdogan says ignoring terrorist organisations is not in the spirit of the alliance, and that Turkey's expected respect and support for its fight against insurgent groups. He's called on Sweden to lift an arms embargo that was imposed when Turkey intervened in the Syrian civil war in 2019. The US President Joe Biden has tended to both business and security interests as he wraps up a 3-day visit to South Korea. He showcased Hyundai's pledge to invest at least $14 billion in electric vehicles and related technologies in the United States. Mr. Biden's also been monitoring the rapidly evolving North Korean nuclear threat, saying the US is ready for any provocation that Kim Jong-un might deliver.
We are prepared for anything North Korea does. We've thought through how we'd respond to whatever they do. and so I'm not concerned.
Mr. Biden is flying to Japan today to meet with officials ahead of Tuesday's Quad Summit. The US state of Michigan has shifted its focus to cleaning up after a rare tornado tore through the north of the state. It left at least 2 people dead, dozens more injured, and brought devastation to the small city of Gaylord. Winds of up more than 225 kilometres an hour tore through the region, ripping roofs from buildings, overturning cars and bringing down trees and power lines. South Australia's recorded 3,053 new cases of COVID-19. 2 many in their 80s have died with the virus. 224 people are in hospital with COVID-19, including 8 in intensive care. ABC News.
Hi, I'm Sam Hawley, host of the new podcast ABC News Daily. This is the show that will help you understand the issues affecting your world. Every weekday morning, you'll get one big story from the news source you trust, told by the journalists you know best, in under 15 minutes. Find ABC News Daily on the Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Sicily in on to Newcomb, releases Frost, a couple of bounces as he runs the wing, looks inside 50, Wingard doubling back, takes the mark, races out, opens the angle, snaps on his left and puts through his second.
Luke Bruce will get it 70 out left half forward. Play on! The Hawks are about to go deep inside 50. The sunshine poking through as it sets behind the Western Grandstand, kicks inside 50, Frost with the pack mark, Frosty the forward. He's kicked it. Hawthorn are in front.
Zach Bailey, one-on-one with Sicily. Bailey had him and then fumbled it. Gathers and turns boundary side. Kicks into the pocket. Here's Charlie. Can't take the mark. Hardwick slipped over. You know how that ends. Charlie veers out. Kicks on the left and puts through his second.
Fought for Brisbane, hand pass to Answorth, he's under the pump, lost it. Dylan Moore, half forward for the Hawks, 1-2 with Bruce, still with Moore, centre half forward to Morrison, to Newcomb, on the single step, Newcomb's kicked it.
Here's Lockie Neal, surges out of the middle, long to the goal mouth, it clears forward and CJ, and bounces through.
The Sir Doug Nicholls Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Half-time from York Park in Launceston as the Hawks that lead the Brisbane Lions by a point, 10-3-63 to the Lions 9-8-62. Hawthorn with 5 goals to 3 in that second quarter after the Lions led by 6 points at quarter time, courtesy of a Charlie Cameron goal after the siren of quarter time. Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Luke Ball and Brett Delidio are your experts, with Chris Rowbottom down on the boundary. After this match, we're taking you west. It's Collingwood taking on the Fremantle Dockers. No late changes there, with Neil Erasmus, the sub for the Dockers, and Ollie Henry for the Magpies. So that's the final match of round 10. Of course, Sir Doug Nicholls round stretching over a couple of weeks, so we will get to see some of the highlights of the Indigenous jumpers. And for those that didn't get to see it in front of their home crowd, at least they'll get a chance to have a look on the second week around. Luke Ball, Brett Delidio, I guess so far this game has entertained beyond expectations. Hawthorn have been up for the fight at their home away from home, and then the challenge for Sam Mitchell is how can they maintain that, or will the Brisbane Lions find a way to surge in this third term?
Yeah, well, the first 5 minutes, Quincy, we were thinking, oh no, this could get a little bit ugly, but especially having spoken in the build-up around the difference, or the glaring difference in the two teams around clearance, with Brisbane being the number 1 team and the Hawks being number 18, and the first 5 minutes played out to that script, didn't it, Lids? But as you said, credit to the Hawks, they gritted their teeth, and it was led by Mitchell and Newcomb, in around the contest. They wrestled back momentum, they started to get it on top around there, and it was almost as if Brisbane thought after that first 5 minutes, well, this is going to be an okay day for us, and we might need to really roll the sleeves up and get dirty here. But halfway through that quarter, the Hawks had more than a sniff and snuck out to a couple of goal lead, and it really did require their senior, their A-grade players, their senior players, the Lions, to go back into the middle and around the ball to get momentum back, and we find ourselves all square at half time. All the numbers are reasonably even as well, so it has been a good contest. And I was talking there off air that it's one of those ones that need to be a bit careful, the Lions. They're just as likely to come out after half time and put on a big 5 or 6 minutes. But I think they'd want to, because if they leave the Hawks sort of dagging around as the further the game goes on,
get belief.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times this year. They did it on Easter Monday against Geelong. And they've got enough talent. They've got enough dangerous players to be able to take that opportunity. So some stuff to tidy up at half time from the Lions.
Yeah, and I think kicking straight certainly helps that. When you go forward and you're nailing your goals. If that read, like 7 goal 6 or whatever, even less, 6-7, compared to the Lions, who have probably left a couple of chances on the table, it gives you confidence, and it feels like you said, it's hanging around. You're a chance within this game, and any sort of sniff that the Hawks can get, because they know they're actually matching them really well inside, when the clearances inside. Yes, they've got Neal and Lyons and McCluggage, who are all-star players in their own right, but, don't discount Mitchell and Newcomb going through there. Even Connor Nash is doing his bit, It's, they're certainly up for it, the Hawks, which is great, but for mine, if the Lions are going to be that team, that I know they're missing a few, but if they're going to be that team that's going to be saying, righto, well, we see ourselves as, the challenger to Melbourne, and we want to stamp ourselves on this season. Well, it has to be like foot down, premiership quarter, bang, third quarter. This is us.
Yeah, as you mentioned, they're missing a few. Hipwood's been interesting, hasn't he? It's been a bit of an almost game. He's launched at a few. They're not sticking. They're not sticking. He hasn't quite got his timing right. He's been outmarked a few times by Sicily in particular. So, it's his second game back after a knee, a 12-month off period. So you'd expect that, but that's where perhaps they're not quite being as efficient as they usually would, where they have those periods of dominance, and usually it's a Danaher or McStay. I think they kicked 30-odd goals between them in the first nine rounds of this year that really straighten them up and give them a breather too, when they can go up and take a contested mark and not have to worry about getting it done at ground level. So they're missing a bit of that, and it's not working for Hipwood at the moment, so they're having to find other avenues to goal. And McCarthy started well, didn't he? Jumped out of the blocks and took a mark, but it's been pretty quiet until then. Charlie Cameron, he's kicked 2 goals. He only had 3 possessions though. So
all scoring shots.
Yeah, that's right. So Zach Bailey started to get a little bit busy that quarter, but he's been reasonably well held as well. So the Hawthorn back 6, back 7 are actually doing
their job,
a pretty good job, and they've also provided some offensive run too. You think of G. Arth, and Sicily always does that, but. I think I'll remind me of the other player. I'll get to him in a sec. Who's done that as well? Really created some. Impey's the one. That's the one. Yeah, who's created some real drive off half back. So, if you're a Hawthorn supporter, you're pretty happy with certainly happy with the first half, and if they can keep competing like they are around the footy, they are a sniff in this game for sure.
If they cop an injury, they got all that exciting run in Cole Hardigan to come off for them. And
it's an interesting one.
Play as a key defender for some reason.
They lose a forward? What are they thinking, that Frosty's going to go down as their new forward and they'll put Hardigan up front?
It's really odd that he would be the Medi sub.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and over the other side, Mitch Robinson in his home state, he's almost the sort of player that they need out there, the Lions. In this game gets a little bit tighter. Yeah, a couple of times. In that role he plays on the wing, they've lost a bit of that shape and structure, but also what he's going to bring to the table in terms of how he competes around the footy. So we'll see if he gets his opportunity to get activated in this second half. But yeah, the Hardigan one, I'm sure he'll get asked, the coach, about that after the game. Or who knows, he might come out, sub himself in for Frosty down the front end and be the difference towards the end. That's right. We'll see.
The Hawks have done well. You mentioned Hawthorn fans would be enjoying the contest, but a couple of goals from Sam Butler, a couple of goals from Chad Wingard. It hasn't been a game for the tall targets. So Jacob Kaczynski with just the 3 disposals, Mitch Lewis with just the 4 and a goal. Luke Bruce hasn't been cited that much with just 5 disposals. So very efficient for their 10 inside 50s in that second quarter for 5 goals, but it's going to be a challenge to try and maintain that.
Well, that's it. I mean, what's impressive is that they're not reliant on those guys, but they're still kicking a score. So that'll please Sam Mitchell. But it's been off the back of just, being competitive and giving themselves a chance. Then they've made the most of their opportunities. So, for them to continue to go, it's going to be on, Mitchell, Newcomb in the middle to continue to go toe-to-toe and not allow, the Lions midfield to really get on top, as we spoke about at the start of the game. So, going to be good to see who can get the first goal, but we'll wait and see on that one. But I'm pretty confident in the way the Hawks are just playing well enough at the moment to hold themselves in the game and keep going forward, but then I'll be very happy if I was a Hawk supporter, Bally. Absolutely, you'd be pumped with that.
What about Eric Hipwood's haircut wrong with the short hair lids? You're the expert in this area.
Yeah, well, I did remind him of that when he first started, that I thought he should have got one. So
yep.
I like it. I reckon he looks better, looks sharper. It's not helping him overhead at the moment, but he'll no doubt find his feet.
A bit more aerodynamic around the ears. Just doesn't have that
ponytail out the back. Unlike big Lynchy.
It's a real Avant marriage mullet, that one, isn't it, Max Lynch? He sat down in the barber's chair and said, "Give me the Avant marriage, I reckon."
Give me the worst one you can come up with.
What are the kids rolling with? So the players are in position. We're just waiting for the umpires to get the all clear from the timekeepers. Hawthorn leading by a point. 10-3-63 to the Lions, 9-8-62. Into the second half we go from York Park in Launceston. Here's Corbett Middlemass.
Umpire Paul Rebicini wearing light blue. We've got Lee Fisher and Jacob Mollison out there, and that is a crooked bounce from Paul.
He pumped him up too much. He popped.
Gave him a little hat tip and a crooked one to get us going. Here we go. Tosses it up second time around. Second half underway. McInerney grabs it out of the ruck. Kicks the centre half forward for Brisbane. Here's Charlie out to meet it. Hand pass to McCarthy. Kicked the first of the game. Kicks the first of the second half. Brisbane back in front. 3 lead changes in the second quarter and now 1 to start the third. And that took just 16 seconds. Brisbane 10-8, Hawthorn 10-3. Full time as well at Giant Stadium. Aaron Bryans across it for us. Aaron.
Corby, the Giants winners by 52 points, 21-12, 138 to 13-8, 86. The disappointing news for the Eagles, aside from the loss, is that Luke Shuey was subbed out late. Another soft tissue injury for the near 32-year-old veteran.
No, it's sad, isn't it?
I feel for him.
Yeah,
I know
really sad.
exactly.
That'd make you shiver that. But yeah, perfect start. I don't reckon the coaches would have even sat down in their seat there at the start of this third quarter. McCarthy again, the early quarter specialist. Brilliant centre bounce work though from Big McInerney in particular.
Back in the middle, Newcomb gets the clearing kick off the deck towards half forward. Lockie Neal spins out of traffic, gathers for the Lions, hand passes to Ridge, trying to work it back. More intercepts for the Hawks. Neal slipping over Newcomb, could have been taken high, he wasn't. Given he lost his balance, and Jared Lyons wins the free kick for holding the footy.
He needs some long stops, John Newcomb. He's slipped 5 or 6 times today already. I don't think you're allowed to wear him anymore though, are they?
No. He's done a lot right for a mid-season recruit. 16 disposals so far in the match. Lions kicks out to the eastern wing. A free kick for a hold going Brisbane's way, and it's going to go the way of Tom Fullerton.
Pretty heavy on the whistle today, Corb. Give me a count.
What are we at? I'll give you a number in just a moment, but we've got a couple of 50-metre penalties which have resulted in goals.
Goal apiece for either side.
5-point lead for Brisbane. Fullerton kicks down the wing. McInerney knocks it down to Rayner. His kick smothered, ricochets to Neal. Hand pass to Rich. Standing start. Single step, kicks inside the forward 50. Wanted Cameron. It spills to Archie. He's under pressure. Gives it to McCluggage. Took on a couple of calls. Mitchell and Chenkov Jaff lay the tackle. Free kick for the Hawks. Howe takes the advantage. Hand pass down the eastern wing to MP. Tackled. Fullerton and Rich. And a ball up. Between wing and half forward for Brisbane. Lions to the southern end of his third turn. Brisbane by 5 points. 3 minutes travel.
20-11. The free kick's Hawthorn's way, Bally, as Newcomb gets it from the stoppage. His kick is off the instep and just rolls forward. Didn't get purchase onto it. Impey bounces off McCarthy and he's a bit slow to rise. Almost got the hand pass back from McCarthy. Still on the deck. Gardner wrestles for it. He comes over the top. Frost tries to knock it out. Comes the way of Archie of the Brisbane Lions. Kicks in the middle of the ground. Over the head of Pryor. He's got enough time to gather, but did slip over under the cruising conditions. Day lays the tackle. They've got support though, the Lions, although the hand pass from Starcevic comes undone. Chad Wingard at left half forward for the Hawks. He kicks it into Darcy Gardner. Brisbane re-emerge with it. Hand pass to Pryor at half back. He gets a work better all on the deck. Day on all fours tries to knock it out. A chance for Starcevic. He kicks through the legs of Fullerton. Oh, great spectacle. CJ picks it up. He's tackled by McCluggage. Ball spills clear. You have a go at it, Corby. See if you can tidy it up.
The kick here comes from Starcevic down the boundary line. Bouncing footy in front of McCarthy. He helps Hardwick out of play. So a throw in half forward for Brisbane.
They turn the sprinklers on at half time, or just the Jews set in.
Let's check in with
problems.
Let's check in Chris Robot on boundary side.
Yeah, it's cooled down significantly. The ground now bathed in the artificial light, firmly into dusk here in Launceston, and certainly a layer of dew forming atop the ground.
What's the crowd like there, Chris?
Yeah, pretty solid. I'd say 9,000 or 10,000. The broadcast side is pretty well packed out. The outer side not so much, but not a bad turnout on a Sunday afternoon.
Thanks, Chris. Restart half forward for Brisbane. Kadeen Coleman away to Lyons. Kicks out wide, too wide for Cameron. Out on the full, heading into the forward pocket. So free kick back pocket for Hardwick and the Hawks. Brisbane led it by as many as 20 points time on first quarter. And then the Hawks led for the majority of the second term. And by a point at half-time, it's now Brisbane by 5. Long kick to the wing from Hardwick, but Jackson Payne takes a strong mark. And the logo, western side. And here's Payne, he goes short to Coleman. Coleman, high up and under inside the forward 50. Good luck marking that. Rayner goes to ground and Jaff takes the intercept mark for Hawthorn.
Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Yeah, Will Day just come from the ground, just being assessed by the doctor. It doesn't look like anything too serious, but I'll keep an eye on it.
Stand! Thanks, Chris. The Hawks have worked it up to right half forward, where Dylan Moore takes the mark. He advances it further still, and Bruce takes the mark. Veers out onto his left-hand side, kicks inside 50, looking for Wingard, a bump on Gardner. Chad gave away the free kick.
Stand.
Animated conversation with the umpire as Darcy Gardner takes the free kick and goes short to Zorko in the left back pocket. Brisbane by 5 points.
Straddling descent, wasn't he? Not quite, but
just flirting with it.
Giants winners by 52 points over West Coast. Another soft tissue injury for Luke Shuey and a 50-metre penalty against Jaff here. The second one he's given away, this time creeping forward on the mark. And Jared Lyons will be marched from the back flank down the wing. He plays on early from the 50, spots up McCluggage, 52 out, kicks it out on the full. Heading into the pocket, it's a poor finish.
Change the footy.
Now Lions by 5 points, ugly start to the third term, which is 6 minutes old. So Giants by 52 over West Coast. I'm just seeing some pictures of the Fremantle-Collingwood game, which is coming up. And there are big puddles on the Plain Arena in Perth, so it is chucking it down out west. So that is going to be a low-scoring affair, you'd imagine. In heavy conditions over in WA. Chenkov Jath off the back flank for Hawthorn. Comes out of a defensive arc. Ball on the wing. Brisbane win it back. Rich to Coleman. Hand pass out to Zorko. 70 from home. Kicks to the lead of McCarthy. No mark. And empties back there for the Hawks. Shares it with Hardwick, who kicks across the goal mouth.
Side 5. Play on.
Works it up to Liam Shields, who takes the mark from the Howe kick in the left back pocket still. Call to play on, so kicks a long ball around the western wing, over the head of Kajitsky, who got underneath it. Tough bouncing ball for Starcevic, running onto it, O'Meara. Kicks a high ball towards Frost, caught behind at half back. He gave away the free kick.
Stand!
And the free kick going the way of Jack Payne. He takes it at right half back for the Brisbane Lions. They lead by 5 points. 7 minutes gone, third term, ABC Sport.
22-year-old in his third game for the year. Payne with the kick down the wing. Sicily says get that out of here as he whacks it out of play. And a boundary throw-in alongside the interchange gates.
Darcy,
Mitch Robinson on the bike. And then Medi sub for Hawthorn, Kyle Hartigan doing some warm-ups. Boundary throw-in. Hawks win it. Here's O'Meara. Runs, carries. Hand pass in the centre square for Impey. Links up with Butler. Butler almost tackled. Hand pass back to Impey. Kicks on the line. Oh, Bruce spills it on the line. His teammate Lewis was trying to shepherd it through. Bruce went to take the chest mark. It bounces off his chest and through for a rush behind. And that's not what you want, Hawthorn fans. A 4-point lead for the Lions. 8.5 played in the third.
Just a bit worried about where the post is, but when it's not your day, you can have those kind of moments. Rich short to the back pocket to Harris Andrews, returns it back to the lethal left footer who drives a long kick around the boundary line. McInerney outmanoeuvred. Denver Granger Barras taking a good mark. Down low to his right.
Yeah, sorry, Clinchy. Taking some good contested marks today, DGB.
Wants to veer out to the left and kick the Hawks inside 50 once more. No real tall targets. Butler was the only one there, and Darcy Gardner takes the mark with good support from Harris Andrews. Left back pocket for the Brisbane Lions, their 9th intercept mark of the match. Hawthorn with 8. Short, not 15, to Starcevic. He and Gardner 1-2. Starcevic now kicks out towards Rayner, almost juggled the mark, just didn't complete it. Bruce tries to knock it back to Impey. Great work from Rayner, emerged with the footy, gets the hand pass to Zorko, works it up to Lyons on the wing.
Lyons looks inside to the run of Bailey in full flight, kicks out in front of Cameron, who takes the mark, leading back towards goal. And there's no stopping Charlie Cameron downhill like that.
He's spot on, Corp. Once that's Lions at their best, isn't it? Get it into their quick half forwards. Zorko involved.
The Rayner win, wasn't it? Big one-on-one win, just power through that contested situation.
The Lions handball was really good too. Zach Bailey didn't have to break stride, allowed him to really put the hammer down. O'Meara doing his best to try and catch him.
Pure pace, creates his own shot. Charlie Cameron doesn't miss. Lions back up by double digits. It's Brisbane by 10 as Cameron slots his third. 10 minutes travelled third term. The Lions 11-8-74. Hawthorn 10-4-64. Brisbane by 10 points. Full time at Giant Stadium. GWS by 52 over West Coast.
It's a 2-goal turnaround, isn't it? That little inches there at the other end with Bruce and getting a bit mixed up with that shot for goal from Impey. Straight down the other end. And it was Rayner again involved. He really is starting to get back to his best, isn't it? He's such a good one, a powerful one-on-one player. He almost made 2 here, really, when you look at this. Just to be able to pick up the contested. That is a hard ball get win if you ever see one, isn't it? Zorko starting to get involved a little bit. Lyons involved again, and Zach Bailey. That's a beautiful kick too to an open forward line. We haven't seen a hell of a lot of that, have we? The Hawks have been able to have that defence set up pretty well.
Brisbane with the only 2 goals of the third quarter so far. Ford's able to punch it forward. Rayner comes charging out from the centre square, can't take it. Hand pass intercepted. Newcomb gets it away to Moore for the Hawks. Kicks inside the 50 on the lead. Frost got it on the second grab. Right on 50, and then could be 50 because Berry tried to tackle him. I didn't see it that way. Gets the hand pass forward to Day, having played on Wilday on the run from the right forward pocket, misses. Brisbane by 9 points. 11 minutes gone, third quarter. Is Jared Berry a bit lucky there?
That's absolutely. He said that's okay. I'm not sure you let a tackle bloke who's taken a mark, are you?
Especially when he's a defender.
Back 1 metre to the 9. Thank you.
Coleman on the kick out to the back pocket for Andrews. 9-point lead for Brisbane. A long contest kick to half back, and Rayner goes up and marks. But a big second term, Cam Rayner. Beautiful sky, dusk with the sun setting behind the Western Grandstand. Just the, what are we calling that? Almost like a purple or a
pinkish hue.
Yes. What? Throw some other colours at it.
No, I got nothing for us. Magenta or something?
Indigo or mauve, or it depends how creative we want to get with our shades of purple and orange. As the pack forms on the wing, and we'll have a ball up. We're not going anywhere in a hurry here. Brisbane by 9 points, 13 minutes played in the third. Umpire chunks it up. Cozzy and Fort wrestle for it. Spills down to McCluggage. Squeeze the kick inside the attacking 50. Hardwick and Cameron. Hardwick does well. Spoils it away from Cameron. Granger Barras. Hand pass to Sicily. Now to Impey. Slips over. Worst time. Jared Lyons locks him up. Umpire says ball up. Centre half forward for Brisbane. 45 out for their attacking goal at centre half forward.
Toss in the air, Kaczynski wins it down for the Hawks, but Lyons soccers it inside 50 towards Charlie Cameron. In fact, it was Archie who's tackled as soon as he gathers by Daniel Howe, and the umpire will throw it up 25 metres out from the Brisbane goal. Fullerton into the ruck work with Kaczynski, down to Lyons, tackled by Denver Granger Barras. He dropped the footy and holding the ball. A win for the tall defender for the Hawks. Takes it 35 metres out from his defensive goal. Brisbane by 9 points. Good clearing kick up to Kaczynski, who marks it right half back. Having a run in the ruck for the Hawks with Matt Lynch taking a breather. Kicks out to Will Day. Couple of bounces as he runs the western wing. Brought down by Berry. Great chase. And he's keen to let him know about it. Now he'll take the advantage. Gets the hand pass to Coleman.
Got dacked in the process as Coleman kicks down to Jared Lyons. Hand pass to Bailey. Kicks to half forward. Hit with the target, spills to Zorko, shoots a hand pass inside 50. Bramble knocks it out in front of him twice, but Fullerton there for Brisbane. Hand pass to Pryor. He's a left footer. He gets on his left peg and drives it all the way home. An effort from Hardwick on the goal line. They'll go upstairs.
Nah, Hardwick doesn't think he's touched it. You can tell it's the dead giveaway, isn't it?
Charlie Cameron put his thumbs up. We're going to the arc. The call is a goal. But some footy smarts.
Review underway.
Or lack thereof from the Hawthorn defender. And the man in Jackson Pryor with that rocket left boot. And looks like a fresh air swing for Blake Hardwick on the goal
Review
line.
complete. Looking at this angle, we can see there is a gap between the ball and the Hawthorn defender's fist at all times. Decision on the scoreboard.
This is going to be a goal. And the 20-year-old Jackson Pryor is going to kick a couple in the same game. And all of a sudden, Brisbane will lead it by 15. Confirmation. All 6 of those. The Lions 12-8-80. Hawthorn 10-5-65. Brisbane by 15 points midway through the third.
You just got to know your player, don't you? Bally always stepping back onto that left foot. Well, an ex-coach of mine, Dimmer, would not have been so patient with players slipping over. I remember a game up at Sydney, he absolutely tore shreds off us at half-time. Get your heads out of your backside, and he put some long stops in. I was so surprised when I went to the Giants, hardly a player owned a pair. And I was just like, that was one of my... Always have 2 pairs of boots at every game. I'm sure you were the same, Bally. Some of these players just cannot keep their feet.
Yeah. Just having a look at that great chase by Jared Berry, which really set up this attempted goal. But it was... Who was it? Yeah,
Bramble was the defender.
Lockie Bramble, who hasn't played a lot of footy himself. Neither has Jackson Pryor. But, yeah, it's a lovely left shoe.
Brisbane 3 goals to none so far in this third quarter. Bramble eventually gets the clearance, almost at half back as he kicked to the outer wing. Moore couldn't take it. And Answorth comes in to lock the footy up.
Love the way Will Day takes the game on, and he'll get stronger, won't he? Like even there, a couple of times, he just hasn't been quite strong enough through the hips to break through, and that'll come with more and more pre-seasons, of course.
Thrown up on the eastern wing, fought one down the tap. Berry was taken high by Nash.
Been good, Berry, having a real impact this quarter.
Berry called to play on. Looks to send it towards half forward. Coming out G, can't take the mark. Bailey slips over, gets the hand pass to McCluggage, hurries the kick inside 50. Awkward bouncing ball for Morrison. Tackled by Cameron, gets a hand pass out to the left back pocket. Zorko gathers for Brisbane. Hand pass to Lockie Neal. He almost chips it to the top of the goal square. Charlie comes racing out. Sicily punches it back towards the goal line. And Bramble sees it through for a minor score. 16 points, the Brisbane Lions lead at the 16-minute mark of the third term.
Lions have kicked the only 3 goals of the quarter after trailing at half-time. Hawks exit defensive 50 in a hurry though. Mitchell to Butler. Runs over halfway. Kadeem Coleman appealing to the umpire. The umpire thought that he sold. Kadeem Coleman said, how far did he run? And then the umpire blew his whistle and gave it the travel call.
Yeah, I think he's right too.
He did go a long way.
They were little steps.
Yeah, little steps. Well, he's a Butler. We're used to his older brother there. The older brother needs to have a chat to him. Tuck it under your arm and run. Assuming he's got some wheels.
So Coleman gets the free, goes short to McCluggage, and McCluggage from one side of the centre square to the other. And the mark taken by Payne at half back. He goes long to Hipwood, hands to it, no mark, slips through to Bailey. He went without it. And Will Day's happy to see it out of play. Penalty throwing on the eastern wing. Lions by 16 points over the Hawks. They've kicked the last 3 in the game. 18 minutes into the third. Meanwhile, full time at Giant Stadium. Another soft tissue injury for Luke Shuey. The Eagles pumped by 52 points.
Freo and Collingwood about to get underway. We'll take you there at the completion of this game. Aaron Bryans to keep us across it. From the throw in, Nash tackled over the boundary line by Jared Berry, and a boundary throw in.
Darcy and Max again. Keep that leader.
Don't often get that, do you, where you say, how's that? I'm like, yeah, no, actually, you're right. Yeah, you did go too far. Never usually works. No.
Thrown in on the eastern side of York Park. A few fans leaning over the fence as it's thrown in. Zorko squeezed a kick towards half forward. Sicily got a hand onto it and then dumps RG in a big tackle. Ball spills out to Zorko, retreats back into the middle of the ground where Ainsworth can go short, and Coleman has it just adjacent to the 2 centre circles.
Kitty Coleman inside the middle of York Park. He kicks along to the hot spot. Fullerton pulls down the contested mark. Tom Fullerton done some nice things today in just his second match of the year.
Yeah, he has. He's looked really lively, hasn't he? Like, just been given the opportunity, of course, with the other tall timber out injured. Dane Zorko's had a big quarter, up to 9 possessions. He's another one that's sensed the moment. He's been involved in a couple of really important chains. And young Coleman's had a good quarter as well. He's at 7, so a bit of class just starting to exert itself here in this one.
Tom Fullerton, slide angle, 40 out, and just like that, Brisbane lead by a new game high. Lions by 22. As we tick in the timeline in the third term, Brisbane with 4 unanswered goals in this third quarter. They're 13-9-87, Hawthorn 10-5-65, Luke Ball and Brett Delidio on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, you spoke about Zorko lifting his rating and what he's been able to do. He went back, but there was the decision then of Ainsworth just to find that short target again. It allows them to get a composed possession, slow it down, assess, and then he can drive it in long. It's a great set of hands from Fullerton. He's done that a couple of times across centre half forward. Now doing it deeper inside where he's been able to knock it through. Just needed to time his jump a little bit better there, Granger Barras. Get a bit more body. If you can't hit it with your fist, try and get him with your body as well to put him off guard. But great finish from the big fella.
He's been the one, hasn't he? Because we've spoken about Hipwood's just a bit of lack of timing coming back, but Fulton's looked the one most likely in the air forward of the ball for the Lions.
Voice of Luke Ball alongside Brett Delidio on ABC Sport. Lockie Neal gets the clearance for the Lions. Hand pass backwards towards half back for Coleman. Kicks towards half forward. Hipwood's there, competes with Sicily. Lost his footing. Sicily with a hand pass forward to Morrison. Through the middle of the ground to Tom Mitchell. Links up with O'Meara. Kicks inside 50. Racing back Gardner. Bit of a shove in the end on Jack Payne, and he'll get the free kick against Chad Wingard. Wingard shakes his head in disapproval. Payne goes short to Gardner. Could be a good problem for Chris Fagan with a couple of goals of Pryor. Fulton with a goal. Joe Danaher 2 to 4 weeks away, and Dan McStay 2 to 3. Abundance of big men all of a sudden could be available. Up to the wing, Fullerton with a hand pass back to Rich. He has it at right half back. Kicks a long ball towards half forward. Oscar McInerney spoils it to the front. Hipwood with a hand pass towards McCluggage. Impey got in the middle. Tries to fend off McCluggage. He can't get away, and the umpire will ball it up. Right half forward for the Brisbane Lions, who lead by 22 points at the 21-minute mark of the third term.
They got 2 big guys out, interestingly, Brisbane, but only 3 total on the injury list. So they're actually in good health. They've just lost 2 of the same player in McStay and Danaher. From the ball up, Morrison kicks down the wing. There's a free for a hold. It's going Kazitsky's way. Hawthorn free kick on the wing in front of the main grandstand at York Park. Kazitsky, high ball to half forward. Wingard goes for a fly, spills front and centre. Moore, a little fumble, follows up, hand pass to no one in particular. And at half back, Coleman there for Brisbane. Kicks out wide to Noah Answorth, who marks still on the back flank. Brisbane by 22, time on in the third.
Comes inboard to Dan Rich. 14th season for the reliable Western Australian. He can go back inside the defensive 50, where Harris Andrews gets a touch. He returns it back to Dan Rich, and they're happy just to push the Hawthorn defence to man up. Rich in no real urgency. The umpire tells him to move it on. So kick it along the northern wing, where Oscar McInerney's there. He spoils it down against Kazitsky. Jaff, hand pass to Lynch off the outside of the boot, kicks into the middle of the ground, Fullerton up, couldn't complete the mark. McCarthy, hand pass to Neal, tries to link up with Lyons, hand pass pinched by Moore, taken high. And Hawthorn will take it just in the centre square, short of half forward. And it'll be 50. Fully not initially returned to Dylan Moore. And it'll take him from inside the centre square to inside the 50 and within striking distance.
Yeah. I'm going to give it. I think he genuinely didn't know who the free kick was.
Sometimes people try to suck it out of your hands.
Exactly. You just have a bit more feel for the game. It's just
something out of nothing for the Hawks, and Dylan Moore's able to make the most of it. Breaks a 4-goal run for the Brisbane Lions, just as it was starting to loom at a dangerous margin. And the Hawks cut it back to a 16-point ball game, 11-5-71. The Brisbane Lions 13-9-87. Important goal for Dylan Moore, not just for the Hawks' chances, but for his confidence as well. A relatively quiet afternoon for the small forwards.
it's almost like catch-up mode come on there, Bally, and they're like, oh, we better pay one and get them down there with half a chance. But that's certainly, I don't think they were, but you get that feeling. But you think about how many guys try and suck the ball out of your hands, and Payne's trying to work out. He thought it was going back to Nash, who was sitting on the ground. Yeah. And Moore's standing there right in front of him. So I get they have to pay those free kicks for time wasting, but we'll have a bit of feel.
16 points, Brisbane's lead. Lynch punches it forward for the Hawks at the centre bounce, but Jared Lyons is there for Brisbane. Hand pass to Coleman, tumbles a kick over halfway. Clean pick up, Bramble, kicks a high up and under, back to centre half forward. Awkward landing for Harris Andrews, given a nudge in the air, and a dangerous fall, landed high on his back. The contact from Lewis when he was in the air. Both running after the footy. He got a little nudge. His legs out from underneath him and landed straight on his number. Free kick for Brisbane. Hands it off to Answorth. Kicks down the eastern wing and Darcy Fort takes the mark. He goes short and across to Rayner. 16 points, Brisbane's lead late in the third.
23-19, the free kick's Hawthorn's way, so it has been a game where the whistle has been frequent. As Rayner goes short to Coleman. Has it on the eastern wing. Kicks towards half forward. Ford in the pack, takes them up. Bailey was shoved out. Sicily was pushed, and he, in turn, gave a push. So Sicily to take the free kick at right half back. Sends Hawthorn in the middle of the ground. John Newcomb. Long kick to Morrison, had to wait a long time underneath it. Spoiled down by Answorth. A chance still for the Hawks though. Archie, tackled by Morrison. Bramble got him as well, holding the footy. And Hawthorn will take it back defensive side of the western wing.
Kick for Bramble, down to half forward. It's Morrison, shoots a hand pass to Mitchell. Still at high half forward, hand pass back to Morrison. Loads up, kicks to the top of the goal square. Lewis jumps in the air, takes it overhead. In the end, he went up almost uncontested. Just to the left of the goal square, he'll kick from 12 metres out. He'll open up the angle, snap right boot, kicks it high, but kicks it through. Hawks won't go away. A second for Mitch Lewis, and Brisbane's lead cut to 10. Hawthorn 12-5, 77. Brisbane 13-9, 87. 27 minutes travelled, third term.
No, they won't go away. There's a few going up and down on the spot out there. I think looking for the three-quarter time siren for a breather, but yeah, just winning some crucial balls across the ground. And Sicily, that free kick, which could have, was taken, or the mark was taken by Darcy Ford, but Sicily wins the free kick. They have looked to bring the ball inside and shift it off the line a few times. Mitchell involved out in space. Actually, I wondered why he couldn't get in deep, but he doubled back and got it in the hands of a longer kick. I said to you, Liz, Harris Andrews has had a pretty ordinary day, I reckon.
Yeah.
Sometimes he can just look out of sorts. Other days he looks unstoppable in the air, but he hasn't had a great day, Big Harris.
Back-to-back goals for the Hawks. McInerney wins down the tap. O'Meara gets the clearance. Hand pass back to Lynch. The ruckman inside 50. Kajitsky in front. Couldn't juggle the mark. Now he has the footy. Over the top, Starcevic. The Lions through Rich emerge with it. Hand pass back to Berry. Left back pocket. Kicks up to half back. Zach Bailey runs onto it. Linking hand pass to wide for Jared Lyons. He conceded that was out of his reach. Didn't quite have the speed to chase it before it went out of play.
Conceded quickly, did he?
Didn't he?
Like, that's too far for me.
That was sort of the short gully. That's yours.
Might get back down to Chris Rowbottom in just a moment. Will Day's long chat with the physios continues. Haven't seen him back out there as Rayner, hand pass to Rich, heads down to half forward, but Hitwood nudged out of the way. Sicily takes the intercept mark for the Hawks. Half back, dangerous kick or one-on-one. Moore's going to get a free. The high contact from Dane Zorko. What can you see, Chris, from where you are?
Yeah, Dave was proppy earlier in the quarter. He come off for a little bit, then returned to the field. He has been off now for several minutes, and as you say, having a long conversation with the doctor. Cole Hartigan has been warming up, the sub.
There we go. The key back about to come on, potentially to replace their rangy running midfielder in Will Day. Hawks working up the halfway. Impey to Frost by hand. Away to Shields. He's on the logo. Member side. Kicks to centre half forward. Payne goes up. Spoils. Ball hits the deck. Starcevic comes up with it off the back flank.
Kicks up towards the wing where McCarthy's there. The mismatch with Jaff, and Jaff scores it out of play for a boundary throw-in.
They have to inject a bit of speed into the game with Kyle Hartigan. Maybe.
Like for like?
Yeah,
give him a run in the midfield?
Yeah, I reckon. Big ball.
Guess they could throw someone from the half back line, a Jarman Impey, for example, through the midfield. Not really his known role from the throw-in.
Right, guys, good contest.
No breakaway, and the umpire will do it once more with the ball up.
Oscar, Max.
Might be he goes back and releases Sicily up the ground a bit, or even forward and release Frosty up the ground a bit for a bit of run.
Saw Tom Stewart sort of play a role like that on the wing for the Cats over the last few weeks. From the throw-up, Tom Mitchell for the Hawks. Hand pass back to Jager O'Meara, retreating back. Now turns on his right-hand side. Kicks towards Kaczynski. Outnumbered 2-on-1. Rich spoils it down to the front. Morrison left it behind. Here's Zach Bailey. Runs the gauntlet and gets clear.
Chips the ball in the path of Hipwood. No mark. Spoiled away by Sicily. Jaff gives it back to Sicily under the pump and taken high. Free kick.
Put him up.
Good Sicily.
He was taken by McCarthy. James Sicily, who missed so much of last year, every game this season so far. High bomb to the hot spot. Lewis can't reel in a one-hander. Still alive. Centre half forward for the Hawks. Wingard, clean pick-up. Hand pass to Morrison. Finishes off his left boot. Less than a kick in it as we close it on three-quarter time. Hawks with 3 in a row. Brisbane lead the game by just 4. Half-hour mark, third term. Brisbane 13-9. Hawthorn to 13-5. Grandstand AFL with Luke Ball and Brett Delidio.
Well, it wasn't just the finish from Harry Morrison. I just want to watch the work of Chad Wingard playing, wasn't he? Come through clean, just like a vacuum. And then gives the winger, Harry Morrison, his chance. Sitting on the outside, playing your role. You just hope and pray for those sort of looks as a winger. You sit out there all day, and when you finally get a bit of space, you've got to make them count, and he did that on his non-preferred, straight through.
The sense that the Lions have a burst, put 2 or 3, 4 goals on the Hawks, and then almost hoping that that'll be enough for the day.
There's a bit of room
the Hawks,
about it, isn't it?
Hawks are going to keep coming.
Last 8 inside 50s the way of the Hawks. Here's Newcomb in the middle of the ground trying to get the clearance. Tackled by Gardner. Hand pass picked off by Zorko. A whistle downfield as Zorko was cannon into. And Darcy Fort shoves over Howe. He can't do that. And then he tries to race around the mark. Fort now put back behind his mark. Kicking Brisbane inside 50, but not before the siren sounds. 4 3/4 time. Brisbane kicking the first 4 goals of the third quarter. Got out to a game-high 22-point lead. And then Hawthorn will finish with the last 3 goals of the quarter. And it's a 4-point margin at 3/4 time. The Brisbane Lions 13-9-87 to Hawthorn 13-5-83. For the Lions, Charlie Cameron has 3, 1 in each quarter. 2 goals to Pryor and to McCarthy. Individuals to Berry, Neal, Rayner, Fullerton and Fort alongside McInerney. Meanwhile, for the Hawks, 2 goals to Butler, 2 goals to Wingard and 2 goals to Mitch Lewis. Individuals to Morrison, Mitchell, Frost, Moore, Lynch, Shields and Newcomb. 3/4 time from York Park in Launceston. It's the Brisbane Lions leading by 4 points. This is Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, ABC News Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Oh, look. Another flashy gimmick from the Gruen team. A Will Anderson action figure, a D-doll for D-Madigan, and a tiny Todd Sampson.
Collect us all.
And they'll sing your favourite advertising jingles.
No, we won't. But we will deconstruct the way that brands are trying to sell to you.
The new and improved Gruen.
Now let me out of here.
Starts Wednesday, June 8th on ABC TV or log in to stream on ABC iView.
This is Sir Doug Nicholls Round
Grandstand AFL
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Second half underway. McInerney grabs it out of the right, kicks the centre half forward for Brisbane. Here's Charlie out to meet it. Hand pass to McCarthy. Kicked the first of the game. Kicks the first of the second half. Lyons looks inside to the run of Bailey in full flight. Kicks out in front of Cameron, who takes the mark, leading back towards goal. And there's no stopping Charlie Cameron downhill like that. pure pace, creates his own shot. Charlie Cameron doesn't miss. Zorko shoots a hand pass inside 50. Bramble knocks it out in front of him twice, but Fullerton there for Brisbane. Hand pass to Pryor. He's a left footer. He gets on his left peg and drives it all the way home. High bomb to the hotspot. Lewis can't reel in a one-hander. Still alive. Centre half forward for the Hawks. Wingard, clean pick up. Hand pass to Morrison. Finishes off his left boot. Less than a kick in it as we close it on 3/4 time.
The Sir Doug Nichols Round
on ABC Radio and ABC Sport Digital.
Great to have your company on ABC Sport, wherever you're listening around the country. Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio and ABC News Radio. Matt Clinch alongside Corbin Middlemass calling the action. Luke Ball and Brett Delidio are experts with Chris Rowbottom down on the boundary. The final match of round 10 is underway from the west. The Fremantle Dockers taking on Collingwood, keeping across it, Aaron Bryans.
Clinchy, the Pies leading early, 1 straight 6 to Fremantle's 1 behind 8 minutes in. Torrential rain in the west throughout the day has left Perth Stadium looking like a lake. There is puddles everywhere. There's still a chance of a thunderstorm to come as well. So it's going to be an ugly game, but the Pies have the early lead by 5.
Thanks, Aaron. We might also just check in with Chris Rowbottom, boundary side at York Park. Chris, you mentioned Will Day, the likelihood of a sub at 3/4 time.
He looked pretty proppy. I don't have a diagnosis for you, but we know that he's had some problems with his ankle. He missed some time earlier this year with that injury. He doesn't look overly comfortable. He is still sort of conversing with the trainers and the doctors. He joined the team in the huddle at the 3/4 time siren. He hasn't got the tracksuit jacket on just yet, and Kyle Hartigan hasn't removed his. So we'll keep an eye on it, but I would be surprised if he did come out, just judging by the body language, but you never know.
Thanks, Chris. Mitch Robinson, the sub for the Brisbane Lions as well. Brett Delidio and Luke Paul. Feels like Brisbane have their measure, but the Hawks are continuing to fight hard.
Yeah, they are. It's been a surprising game in that sense, hasn't it? Brisbane always getting out to 3-4 goals at times, but Hawks just doing enough to rein them back in. And they probably, they had their chance to even be closer and not let them get out so far. Had that Luke Bruce mark or non-mark, should have let it go through from Jarman Impey. Great running goal from half back. But to their credit, the Hawks, they just haven't died, have they? They just continue to stick around, sticking to their task, getting to work and making sure that the Lions aren't just going to, run this game out and really put them to sword. So if the Lions continue to fall asleep, then the Hawks are in it, as we spoke about at half-time ball. You give a young team a sniff, and then they usually, they take that and they run with it and think that they're a chance to get the game.
Yeah, that'll be the challenge for that Chris Fagan will put forward to his team. Do we want to keep the door open, or do we want to play 30 minutes of hard, relentless finals type footy here that we know that we can play, and not just be content with. Or not just think that we're going to get an easy 4 points here, because there's no such thing in this competition, as we know. And the Hawks have got a lot of proud players and a lot of young players that are trying to make their mark on this competition. I mean, I think Newcomb's been terrific. Mitchell has been great back into the team. He's had 30 possessions to 3/4 time, 15 contested. So, they have, but for a couple of bursts from the Lions, they really have matched them, the Hawks, blow for blow, and have actually at times look better in the way they've moved the ball inside or from defensive 50 forward. So it's a real challenge. The Lions need to be careful here. They need to be at their best for this last quarter.
They would not fall asleep, would they?
That's right. Otherwise, we've seen the Hawks this year run games out. They are a good running team. They're a fit team. So rest assured that they'll be doing that this quarter.
Into the final term we go. Brisbane leading by 4 points against the Hawks. Oscar McInerney to start in the ruck here against Max Lynch. McInerney wins down the tap, but Wingard tries to shark it forward. One direction, Neal. O'Meara the other. A chance for Nash. Kicks inside the 50. Gardner spoils it away from Kajitsky. Chance for more. Taken high by Gardner.
Darcy Gardner needs to do some tackling practice this week.
Dropped a little bit at the knees. Dylan Moore, and in the end, Gardner, there was nothing really you could complain about. Moore's waste no time, steps out, snaps on the right, kicks his second, Hawks back in front. All of a sudden, another lead change. So that's our 4th lead change of the match. And the Hawks lead by 2 points, 14-5-89 to the Brisbane Lions. 13,987, just a minute gone in the final term. Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Yeah, Kyle Hardigan, the Hawthorn sub, has been activated. He's gone straight to full-back. Will Day has been subbed out with some ankle soreness.
I think I saw Frosty up on the wing, so that's probably the only play that they had, I think, given the lack of versatility, I suppose, to put it one way, that Kyle Hardigan brings to the team. But yeah, Darcy Gardner, that's a couple. I mean, the Ups have been red hot today. They've given a lot of free kicks away. There was no problem with that one.
He's been a bit sloppy, hasn't he?
Yeah, just got to get lower. Love his intent and his desperation at times, but really sloppy there. He's cost them 2 goals directly from free kicks.
They have won their last 2 against the Brisbane Lions. The Hawks is socket off the ground by Lions, back in the middle of the ground. It clears Charlie Cameron, and now Fullerton's over the footy. It's locked to his chest as Howe lays the tackle. And the umpire will throw it up 50 metres out from the Brisbane Lions goal.
Liam Shields has definitely gone to Lachie Neale too. I think it's halfway through that third quarter. He's got the job now.
Heading to the northern end, the Brisbane Lions in this final term. Fullerton tries to scrap with Howe for it. Footy underneath it. O'Meara, hand pass out for the Hawks to CJ. Kicks around his body. High ball for Kajitsky to sit underneath it. Can't take the mark. Payne onto it for the Brisbane Lions. Veers out to the right. Looks towards half forward. Spots a free player. Lions takes the mark. Still inside the centre square. Hand pass to Dan Ridge. Cruising through the edge of the centre square. Hipwood wrestles on the goal line. It's cleared them. He and Sicily, they're going to go upstairs.
Oh, James. Yeah, please.
I believe it's a goal. Can we check if it was touched?
Umpires call as a goal.
Umpires call as a goal. Can we please check that it was touched?
So I'm doing the umpire's job here. As James Sicily threw a right arm back, but it didn't initially look like he had any contact with the ball as he wrestled with Eric Hipwood a couple of metres out from the goal line.
Probably going to be hard because he's got the fist clenched. You can't see the finger flicker, so it might be hard to overturn this one. I think he thinks he touched it, Sicily, or maybe he's just trying to bluff his way through.
Best scenario would be graze the knuckles, but that would be it.
No snicko though. It'd be hard to overturn with the umpire's call.
Looking at these angles, there is insufficient evidence to say whether the ball was touched or not. Decision on the scoreboard.
So umpire's call. The all clear is given, and the goal stands. So Dan Ridge strikes after the early goal for Dylan Moore, and the Lions return to the lead. 5th lead change of the match. Brisbane back by 4 points. 14,993 to the Hawks, 14,589.
Well, it was a terrific play from Jack Payne. Been pretty impressed with him today. Litz haven't seen a heap of him. Hasn't played a heap of footy, but he hit the one-on-one contest on the wing, edged his opponent under the ball, won the ball, and then turned inside. It was a beautiful kick, inside 45 kick to centre half forward to, I think it was Lyons, to set up that handball release. And I guess Sam Mitchell and the coaches will be saying, well, how do we let Dan Rich, this bloke's been doing it for over 250 games,
it's not
lurk around for a handball receive from 55 out. So
got a bit of a weapon, cannon.
That's right. Frustrating stuff there, but goal for goal to start the last quarter.
Cole Hardigan is on the ground as the Medi sub, as McInerney grabs it out of the right, kicks it forward for Brisbane. Punched away by the Hawks, but straight to McCluggage. He runs into trouble. He's caught holding the ball. And Bramble will get the free kick back flank. So a goal each to start this final term. The lead swinging on both of them. 6 lead changes in the game. The Hawks through Nash, hand pass away to Bramble, long kick to half forward, Mitchell marks in front of Neale. The 2 Brownlow medalists going head to head. Mitchell kicks to the hot spot, Cozzy the target, Kazitsky can't mark, follows up, goes to ground, grabs the footy, ball held into him by McInerney, pack form centre half forward for the Hawks. And the ump says, I'll have it. Brisbane by 4 points, 5 minutes into the final term.
Max Oscar.
Umpire tosses it in the air. McInerney wins down the tap towards Gardner. Moore tries to clear a pass for Mitchell. Out pass to Morrison, and Nash trying to snap it over his left shoulder. It's to the goal line. Mitch Lewis is there, spoiled away by Harris Andrews. And out of play in the right forward pocket.
It's a real Gaelic style kick that wasn't it, from Nash? The round ball that probably floats through over there with the round ball, but amazing.
He's taller than you imagine, Connor Nash, 197 centimetres, and he's got good agility for a big man from the throw-in. Shields can't take it. Moore has it blocked to his chest as Gardner throws into the turf. Throw up in the right forward pocket for the Hawks. Brisbane by 4 points.
Leaping up McInerney and Lynch. McInerney wins it towards the boundary line. Gardner tries to get a hand pass away as he's been tackled. Moore somehow grabs it in the pocket for Hawthorn. Kicks to the top of the goal square. Down to Lynch. Lynch shakes a tackle. Kick smothered. Ball spits out towards O'Meara, who slides in. Can't control it. Lyons looking for the boundary line. Payne tackles Kaczynski. Ball's out of play. Forward pocket for the Hawks.
Smelling it here, the Hawks, aren't they?
Well, they tried by 22, time on in the third term. They kicked 4 straight goals either side of three-quarter time to hit the front. Brisbane with the last. Lions by 4 points. Boundary throwing. Lynch knocks it down to Mitchell. Hooks a kick back to the hot spot. Comes to Gardner. Hand pass under pressure to Andrews. He's tackled out of play by Dylan Moore. And again, another stoppage. Another boundary throw-in. Forward pocket for Hawthorn.
Let's go. Max.
Hawks head into the city end or southern end of York Park in Launceston in this final term. Thrown back in, Lynch in a wrestle with McInerney, who set himself in front, palm to the front, Wingard through traffic, it all opens up in front of him. Snaps off the outside of the boot to kick his third. And the Hawks are back in front by 2 points. Are they loving it at their home away from home? The locals are starting to rise and Hawthorn are feeling like they're in this fight. 15-5-95 for the Brisbane Lions, 14-9-93, 2 goals to 1 in the final term, Hawthorn's way.
Well, the seas just really opened up there, didn't they, Wally? It was, I'm not sure who was manning him at that stoppage, but no coverage behind the stoppage either. I'm not sure where their winger was. He's been sucked out of his position. You see Wingard
too open, wasn't it?
Lost Starcevic, and through he comes.
Way too easy. Yeah, again, un-Brisbane-like. There's some really worrying signs here. Chris Fagan showing it too. And a couple of moments of brilliance. Indigenous round. Chad Wingard. They've got a real sniff here, the Hawks. I reckon you'd want to be on them from here.
Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Yeah, Liam Shields has gone to Lockie Neal. He's just come from the ground though, Liam Shields, looking a little uncomfortable. He's gone straight to the doctor, having some work done on his lower left leg.
Thanks, Chris. Hawks have already made their sub with Will Day out of the game. Brisbane are going to get the centre break eventually as Bailey just kicks out to half forward and Cecily strong grab. One-on-one with Archie takes the intercept mark for Hawthorn. Hawks by 2 points, 7 lead changes, all of them after quarter time. Short to Mitchell and Mitchell chips short to Nash, so Hawthorn still defensive side of the wing. They lead it by 2 points, 9 minutes into the final quarter.
First to 100 wins, is that the general rule, Court?
There's some evidence to suggest that. As Nash kicks towards Mitch Lewis, couldn't take the mark, spoiled away from him. Rayner over around the footy, Lewis still scraps for it. Harris Andrews creatively tried to sock it off the ground, swatted forward for the Hawks. Bruce worked off it. Still a chance for the Brisbane Lions as Pryor's over it. He's brought down and the umpire will throw it up.
Hawks have only kicked 100 points once this year, Bally. That was way back in round 2 on the road against Port Adelaide.
What about you, Lids? Paulie said Hawthorn's the team he'd want to be on. Are you there yet?
Yeah, they're coming down with the wet sail. I don't mind it. But I still think the firepower for the Lions is going to be too good in the end.
Good tackle laid on Jai Newcomb. And the Brisbane Lions win it back through McCluggage, who receives the short pass from Pryor and can work it up now to Archie on the wing. Half pass back to McCluggage, right half forward. Kicks inside 50, early whistle.
Who did that?
Up as he got the kick away inside the 50, so this was against the Hawks, and rather than McCluggage getting the free kick downfield, it's coming back to him against Bramble. Right half forward against Bramble. These are the ones that always confuse me, whether they're downfield or where the incident took place.
Why do blokes do it though? I don't understand the push. Either lunge and try and tackle and drag him down, you always run the risk of a free kick. Doesn't make sense.
McCluggage, high up and under, to the hot spot. McCarthy leaps, no mark, spills down to O'Meara. Surge kick out of the defensive 50. Bouncing footy on the wing. Rich, volleyball spike, straight out of play. Umpire says you did it deliberately. Hawthorn free kick, defensive side of the wing. Hawks by 2, 11 minutes playing final term. Dylan Moore's off and running, short kick to Newcomb. 22 touches again today. It's Newcombe on the outer edge of the centre square. Overcooks his kick looking for Nash. His opposing number 11, McCartney, wins it. Heads down the wing. Lyons kept his feet. Jack went to ground. Jared Lyons links up at high half forward with McCluggage. Heads inside 50. Cameron underneath it with Frost for company. So Sam Frost going back here in the final term, having played the first 3 quarters up front. Hawthorn by a couple of points. Boundary throwing 30 out from the Brisbane goal.
I reckon Jack Payne's gone forward too for Brisbane. Chris Fagan realising that needs someone who can take a clunk down there.
Thrown in, McInerney knocked it down, but straight to Tom Mitchell or Hawthorn. Kicks a long ball to the wing. Fort set himself. Takes the mark with Harris Andrews providing support in front of Mitch Lewis. Goes wider still to Starcevic at right half forward, and now short to Rich. Still 2 kicks out from goal.
Having an impact, Rich, isn't he? Up to 24 possessions.
Rich with a laser-like pass into the right forward pocket. Archie comes out to meet it on the bounce. Out past to Pryor, who's tackled over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Pushing the back, Brisbane.
A late whistle and a late free kick.
What's the count called? That's your man, Aaron Cheney, too, because he's given some free kicks away.
Aaron Cheney. Come on, Paulie. None of that.
What was it?
I think it's Rebachini's the guy's
Rebachini,
name.
sorry.
Might have been an Aaron Cheney call. So all of a sudden,
we're up to 52 free kicks.
It's a lot.
Jackson Pryor with a chance to return. Brisbane to the front. What a great kick. He slotted it from the right forward pocket. If you don't mind, he's third, and that's the best of them. And for the Brisbane faithful who have made the trip, that's a signature moment.
He's
to
fallen
wrestle
for it.
back momentum. So Brisbane back in front by 4, but there's going to be a free kick in the middle of the ground. The Lions 15-9-99 to Hawthorn 15-5-95. It's all going on. While we work out what's going on, let's check in the West. Aaron Bryant's watching free on Collingwood.
Finchy scores level, 4 minutes to play in the first quarter, 2-2-14 apiece. Wet weather footy. It's very messy out there between Fremantle and Collingwood.
Gee, it was a soft free kick against Tom Mitchell, just a shove to Jackson Pryor, and he's gone back and kicked it from out wide.
Oh, an even softer one to follow. My goodness.
The young man Jackson Pryor's having a day out. He's kicked 3 for the first time in his career. Hawks free kick back in the centre. They drive it deep forward. Free for a hold, and it's going Hawthorn's way. Gee, another huge free kick in the context of the game. Harris Andrews in a tangle at the drop of the ball, and the umpires plucked a free. And the Hawks will get a set shot through Mitch Lewis. 20 out, just right of centre. And a chance to swing the lead again.
Always about to lose the plot here.
Is that the argument playing on both ends?
Yep, that's the argument.
I think they are.
They've blown the whistle a hell of a lot, that's what I know.
So Mitch Lewis trots in on the back of the gift, sneaks it through. Yes. And the lead is swinging on every goal, or at least every free kick at the moment. Hawthorn back in front by 2. 9th lead change of the afternoon. Hawthorn 16-5, 101. Brisbane 15-9-99, 14 travelled. In the final term, Mitch Lewis with his third.
Well, you'd hope that the umpire in zone had a better view of it than us. It didn't look much in it, but the markings right from the first bounce have been red hot on these marking contests today. And Mitch Lewis good enough to...
he did have him by the arm there, though. So
he had the left arm hooked in. Yeah, so...
Not giving him a full extension, yeah.
Letter of the law.
I don't mind it.
Just Harris Andrews again, his timing's just been all off today. We're just so used to him controlling things across the back there. He's had a pretty dirty day. First to 100 of the Hawks. Good old-fashioned scoreline, this one, isn't it?
Hawthorn back in front. Fort wins down the tap. Newcombe tries to burst his way through. He's locked up by Neal and McCluggage. And the umpire will throw it up still in the middle of York Park.
Been quiet since Lockie Neal in the second half. Done a good job on him, the Hawks.
Right on cue here. Gets a free kick for a hold against Shield. Chris Rowbottom told you he's gone to him in this second half. Gets the hand pass away to the run of Starcevic. Long ball inside 50. Hipwood from behind. Spoils it down to the front. Howes hand pass straight to Fullerton. Hand pass to McCluggage. Squeezes the kick towards the goal mouth. Sicily hits it with speed. Hand pass to the Hawks to Denver Granger Barras. Works it out wide towards Nash, who knocks it onto Bramble. Clever up against the boundary line. The two combine again, and Nash has it.
Hand pass out wide to Butler along the boundary line. Kicks off his left boot. Lewis the target. Andrews knocks it away from him. Butler's kept on moving. Who kicked it downfield? He's now tackled. Ball held in. Umpire says ball up.
It was very like his older brother, wasn't it? That kick and then overlap run and hit the next front and centre contest. They've got more run in their legs, the Hawks, at the moment. Covering the ground better.
Hawks by 2. 16 travelled final turn. Ball up between wing and half forward for Hawthorn. Kadeem Coleman there for Brisbane though. Gives it to Answorth. He's tackled, dispossessed. Pryor had it, lost it. Kaczynski stands up with a footy. He's ducked in the tackle. Free kick, Cozzy. The Hawks will get it. Left half forward, 55 out. Too far for Kaczynski. Lays it up to the top of the goal spread. Morrison! Harry Morrison takes the mark. 20 out straight in front for the Hawks.
That's another one I spoke about before, being the winger, just reading the play really quickly. I watched him get on his bike as soon as Kaczynski got that free kick. Went to the fat side of the ground, got into some space. Sam Frost just played a bit dumb and got Zorko out of the way and just allowed that ball to go over the top. Usually a beautiful kick, Harry Morrison.
Goal for goal all quarter so far to give the Hawks the break. Morrison misses. Out to the right. Hawks by 3. 16-6 to 15-9. He should have done better from there. Halfway through the final term, Chris Rowbottom on the boundary.
Hugh McCluggage talking to the physio on the boundary down here for the Lions, just clutching at his right hamstring.
Starcevic brings the Brisbane Lions back into play. Long kick towards Fort. It's spoiled away from him. And across the boundary line.
Gee, there's a bit happening down there. Yeah. So if that's a hamstring concern for McCluggage, Rich is off the ground. Lockie Neal didn't want to kick it before, was looking for a hand pass. And on the other side of things, Day subbed out. And Shields hurt as well for Hawthorn.
Fort wins down the tap. Got a kick, but it ricocheted straight into Newcomb, who now gathers the footy, runs away from Fort, kicks Hawthorn deep in attack. Mitch Lewis, Wingard there, Bruce front and centre, crumbs it beautifully. The class and experience of Luke Bruce pops up at exactly the right moment for Hawthorn fans. And the Hawks lead it by 9 points. 17-6, 108 to Brisbane, 15-9, 99. 18 minutes gone, final term. The Hawks with 4 goals to 2 in this last term. Back down to Chris.
Hugh McCluggage having ice applied to his right hamstring. Mitch Robinson tracksuit off, about to be injected into the game.
Well, we spoke about being able to, whether we get rid of these older players or not, Bally. Talk about learning how to learn your forward craft. Luke Bruce, always in the right spot at the right time. You cannot buy experience. Sometimes it's not, cannot be your day, but it can be your moment at the end of it. You've just got to keep turning up, keep doing the work. And that's what Luke Bruce did there. Great finish.
Hawks get the 1-2 punch, so they're up by 9 points now midway through the last. Here's McInerney, tries for the centre clearance, kick smothered, ricochets all the way to centre half forward for the Hawks. Kadeem Coleman collects, tackled, lost it. Hawks through Bruce, scoops it out. Wingard 50 from home, kicks to Lewis. Andrews nudges him under the foot, he takes the mark. And Brisbane get the intercept mark. Last line of defence, kicks to Rayner. Hand pass to Rich. Off the back flank, sends Brisbane up to halfway. And Berry takes the mark. Logo members side. Got a little contact from Howe as he came to stand the mark.
Short to Jack Payne, who takes the mark on the western side of York Park. He looks to send Brisbane deep into attack. Where's Eric Hipwood? There he is. He's shoved out of it. Hardingham back in defence, the sub into the action. And the footy stuck under Granger Barras, the ball up. Brisbane have it.
Sorry, Clinchy. They haven't been able to take a mark, a contested mark in particular, inside their forward 50 in the second half of the Lions.
Deep in attack for the Lions. McInerney knocked it down to Lions. Hand pass to Rayner. Back to Lions. Kick to Zach Bailey. It bounced off his chest. Knocked on by Charlie Cameron. Here's Eric Hipwood. Kicks it high and out on the full. Oh, that's not his best. Only about 15 metres out. He couldn't snap it over his shoulder. Missed everything out to the right. Still Hawthorn by 9 points.
That's just time out of the game, isn't it? Felt rushed.
Little rusty. He's had a quiet day. Eric Hipwood, Sicily long to half back. Hawks by 9 points midway through the final term. Slap down to Nash, kicks down the wing. Andrews takes on the tackler. Hand pass for Brisbane to Coleman. He links up with Rich. Rich kicks his left-footed cannon inside the forward 50. Spoilt by the Hawks on the way through. Bailey in the pocket. Tackled by Granger Barras. Dispossessed holding the ball. Free kick for the Hawks, and now 50 as Brisbane swung a shot goalward for McCarthy. But it's not their footy. And a free kick for the Hawks will come up to the wing. Aaron Bryans is watching Fremantle and Collingwood as it's quarter time there.
40. Corby, our scores locked at 2-2-14 apiece. Goals to Lobb, Switkowski, Cameron and Myercheck. 44 tackles laid in the opening term. Wet weather footy at Perth Stadium.
Thanks, Aaron. So the 50-metre penalty gets Granger Barras into the middle of York Park. Long, here's Kaczynski. Comes out on the lead and in the end takes an uncontested mark directly in front, just inside 50.
This would be a big goal, wouldn't it? We can go back and knock this one through late in the game from 50. Good contested mark. Wasn't the greatest entry, I wouldn't have thought, from the centre of the ground. Very shallow.
Short, didn't it? Yeah, but again, the 50-metre penalty, ill discipline from McCarthy, who's probably a bit frustrated, hasn't had his hands on the footy.
And that's 13 shots on goal, Paulie, for 11-1 the Hawks.
11-1.
Here's Jacob Kaczynski from right on 50, gets close to the man on the mark and hangs it out to the left. It just carries the line as Harris Andrews got a hand onto it on the behind line. Hawthorn by 10 points.
Rich brings it in. Here's Zorko. Plays on. The 5-time Destin Ferris winner. Closed down on the back flank. He ran too far. Oh no, Dane Zorko went too far on the back flank, and it's going to be a Hawthorn free kick within range at right half forward.
He did go a long way.
That's a big call.
A lot of little steps, but he went a long way, Clinchy.
Mitch Lewis is going to get the free, and the man on the mark stands 49 metres from the goal line, right half forward.
It's a big kick late in the game, Bally.
Yeah, he's certainly got the journey in him, no doubt about that. He can roost one. Like what he's doing here, take your 30 seconds.
Hawks are up 10. We're in time on in this final term. They've kicked the last two. Mitch Lewis thumps the right footed drop punt.
Bang.
He's got it. What a special finish. He strikes it all the way through from 55 out. And Hawthorn will be tough to catch. A 16-point break, time on in the final term. And a fourth for Mitch Lewis. Hawthorn 18-7, 1-15. Brisbane 15-9, 99. And their 5-game winning sequence is at real threat here.
Yeah, just having a look at the replay. I think it's right. He took too many steps there. Dane Zorko. He wasn't going fast, but just forgot to bounce it. He was in two minds, and I had a feeling Lids they just felt a bit more desperate this quarter. More running their legs, and the Lions left the door open in that third quarter, and the Hawks have just burst straight through it. And you're right, they actually might go away with it here. It's hard to see where a goal coming from for the Lions.
Hawthorn on a 4-game losing streak. Newcomb gets the clearance. They mightn't be done with yet. Long kick towards Kaczynski. Couldn't hit the mark. Mitch Lewis front and centre. Hand pass to Butler. Hits the post and he snap on the right boot. Cannoning into the left goal post. It's a 17-point ball game. And it's a long way back for the Brisbane Lions now. Still time though. 24 minutes gone. We've had plenty of goals in this final term.
Rich, short from the kick out to Gardner.
Stay with him, Jacob. Stay with him. Play on.
Hand pass away to Rich, who comes out of the defensive 50, paying the target. Spills down to Mitch Robinson, the sub with the fresh legs. Free kick. He was held without it. Robinson tackled by Jathop to get him rid of the footy. Free kick at half back. We've had a lot of intervention today, surging towards 60 free kicks in the game. Robinson down to half forward for Brisbane. Lynch makes a contest for the Hawks. Spills in front of Hartigan, close to the boundary line. Newcomb sees it out. mentioned it on air, Bally, earlier. We did the game together. It has a lot of trimmings to Easter Monday. It feels like they sort of, against a good team, they've hung tough, and then in the final quarter, they got the burst they wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, although they got the jump on the Cats. Remember, the Cats were asleep early there, whereas the Lions got out of the block. So I just think they've thought after that we're going to be in for an easy day. Haven't wanted to work.
Newcombe kicks through the middle of the ground. Of course, that was the last time the Hawks have won in season 2022, having lost their last 4. Howe on the wing, kicks Hawthorn inside 50, retraces back, able to use his body to gather. Hand passes straight to Moore though. He turns it over, gives it to Bruce. His kick couldn't clear. Kadeen Coleman, who marks at the top of the defensive goal square. A goal-saving stop. How did Bruce not kick 20 metres? They work it up to half-back. Answorth around the outer wing, and Payne, who's cannoned into by Cole Hartigan, has it centre wing.
They don't look like winning at the moment, Brisbane. 17 down late in the final term. Kick for Payne down to half-forward. Bailey gets rid of Impey, wins it. In traffic, kicks inside 50. Hardwick reaching for it, can't trap it. McCartney run down by Mitchell. Desperate chase down tackle. Hawks win it back. Jack hand pass to Sicily. He goes long down the wing. Thumped forward by Frost for Hawthorn. But there's no one back. Just maroon jumpers as Gardner dinks a little kick over the top to Jared Lyons on the wing.
Into the middle of the ground for Coleman. Still time for Brisbane, but they need to get a hurry on now. Coleman straight down the middle. Finds Payne. Hawthorn guarding the corridor. Straight down the middle. Charging out McCarthy. Sport away from him. Newcombe gathers. Trying to fend off Charlie. You can't do that. Cameron lays the tackle. Dane Sorko pleads to the umpire. Surely that's holding the footy. Toss it up, he says.
He fended, didn't he? Tried to fend.
Yeah. I don't know whether he fended or braced for contact. Thrown up, Brisbane deep in attack. McInerney taps it down, straight to Hardwick at Hawthorn. Kicks towards the boundary line at halfback. Bounces in front of Kaczynski. Gardner gathers, hacks the kick around his body, only as far as Frost. Back into defence, goes the barrel, straight down the wing. Wingard underneath it, Coleman spores it down. Bruce front and centre, he's got space. He charges towards 50. Only Mitch Lewis inside 50. Runs to the pocket, spears it towards the corridor now. Mitch Lewis 2-on-1, spoiled down by Coleman. Harris Andrew rushes it through.
Lewis had to duck back at him, didn't he? It was an easy one, had the whole 50 to himself.
It was an interesting call to run to the right pocket.
Yeah, Bruce was just angling for someone to come back at him. Mitch Lewis would have been a nice little dinky little 20-metre kick.
Hawthorn by 18 points.
Chris Fagan against the club where he spent so much of his time. They haven't beaten them since 2019, and at the moment it doesn't look like it's going to happen today. Rich goes along inside the middle of the ground for Brisbane. Fort takes the mark. Lyons desperate to change the script. Hand pass away to Starcevic. Kicks to half forward. Cameron can't take the sprawling mark, and it runs out of play. Half forward for the Lions. 60 out from their attacking goal. Hawthorn by 18 points. 29 travelled final term. Full time at Giants Stadium. A 52-point win for GWS over West Coast. Boundary throw in here. Fort down to Jager though of the Hawks. Bangs it into the middle of the ground for Bruce. Runs onto it. Tries to break the Starcevic tackle. Shook him. Kicks inside.
As he picked the ball in the ball. Had to. When he touched the ball on the ground, he was being tackled. Then proceeded to shrug the tackle off. But anyway.
Free kick Starcevic, centre half back for Brisbane.
Been that sort of day for the ups.
Yep. 29 minutes gone. Hawthorn by 18 points. Under 4 minutes to go. Kick towards half forward for Brisbane. It's taken by O'Meara. Hand pass to Howe. Kicks it wide, and that'll work. Mitch Lewis down low. Takes the mark. Centre of the western wing. In no hurry to move it. Hawthorn by 18 points. Call to play on. Harris Andrews slowly moves towards him, so he kicks it towards Max Lynch at half forward. Spoiled away by Fort. Neil against the boundary. Half pass to Rich. He's taken over by Harry Morrison. A boundary throw in. 50 metres out from the Hawthorn goal.
Liam Shields done a great job on Lockie Neal. Yep. This last quarter. Big Max Lynch has copped another one in the scon. Copped an Aaron Head earlier, and I think he's copped another one.
He looks pretty sore. And the trainer is out to him at the moment, so play is halted. Aaron Bryans is keeping across what's happening in Perth. Fremantle and Collingwood as
Corby Brodie Majek has just socketed one through on the goal line to give the Pies the lead by 5 points, 3-2-20 to 2-3-15. Messy football at the moment, but at least it's surging and they're trying to hit some targets.
Wet weather game in Perth, second week in a row. The Dockers are in a wet weather game. We'll take you there next. Oh, it's a clash of heads, just looking at the replay. Fort and Lynch.
That's a couple of I hope he wears a mouth guard, Big Maxi Lynch. It's a couple of times he's clashed heads with Darcy Fort.
They do have problems in the big man department, the Hawks, with no McAvoy and no Reeves, and now surely Max Lynch will be checked for concussion.
Yeah.
And the protocols that will follow, he's been helped off the ground, and there's a blood rule signal. The Hawks lead it by 18 points, by the way, 32 minutes into the final term, but there's still more than 3 minutes on the game clock, so the old Lee Matthews rule, the goal for each minute remaining. There is time for Brisbane if they're good enough.
Toss back into play. Fort over the back. Beautifully to Lyons. From half-back. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Charlie Cameron worked underneath. Good win for Hardwick in the one-on-one matchups. He got beat for speed early in the match. He won that one. Kicks wide for Moore. Has it between wing and half forward. Kicks out to the leader, Bruce. Can't take the mark. Starcevic right there with him. Bramble front and centre. Back to Bruce. Lost his footing. Now he's got a problem. Gardner over the top. I'm not sure how that's not holding the footy. The umpire will throw it up. Neither's Darcy Gardner.
Well, they put the whistle away today, so that's probably why, Fitchy.
Hawks have a 75% winning record on this ground. Trying to extend it right here. Bruce from the stoppage. Hand pass to Moore. High up and under kick. Top of the goal square. Andrews back. Takes the saving mark. Gotta go Brisbane. Desperation belongs to them as he hand passes away to Rich. Kicks to centre half back and Rayner takes the mark. Hawks by 18. Rayner comes wide to Coleman in a one-on-one. Beats Morrison here. Goes up his left boot. Kicks down the wing. Back with the flight. Archie takes the mark right on halfway.
Need to find a target inside 50. Hand passes to Coleman. Left half forward. Kicks to the pocket. Payne. Charlie Cameron came out on the lead. I'm not sure whether Brisbane fans would prefer it in the hands of Charlie or Big Jack Payne. He's going to set flight from inside 50, deep in the left forward pocket. That's a beautiful kick. Get in there. Game still alive, but time is the enemy now, the Brisbane Lions. Hawthorn by 12 points. They'll have to be efficient. Hawthorn 18-9, 117 to Brisbane 16-9, 105. A second goal of his career for Jack Payne, and what a time to come.
Yeah, and they've had to put him forward due to their lack of aerial power.
Hipwood.
Yeah, with Hipwood in particular, but he's looked pretty light. I've been impressed by Jack Payne's game, and he does kick it really well. He's a light mountain of a man.
Captain America.
Yeah, he's had really sticky hands today, but especially behind the ball, but gone forward in this last quarter, taken 3 marks, and that was the first one really in range of kicking for goal. So, yeah, quick centre bounce here. I mean, they've kicked the goal in 16 seconds at the start of a quarter of the line, so quick centre bounce, and who knows.
McInerney pumps it straight down the Neil. Out of the centre they go, Brisbane. Kicks for Cameron. No mark, half forward. Socket by Zorko. Spills to Hardwick. His kick smothered by Neil. Still at half forward for Brisbane. Cameron knocks it to Zorko. Hand pass back to Cameron. Along the boundary line. Along the ground. He misses. Tried to Dacos effort from the pocket. Missed near side. Behind. Hawthorn lead it by 11 points. 35 minutes travelled final term.
Oh, they made something out of nothing there. Charlie Cameron almost finished it off. Sicily brings the Hawks back into play. The draw's off the table. Long kick towards Mitch Lewis through the hands of McInerney. Mitch Robertson, the sub, onto it. Turns, kicks over his shoulder, close to the boundary line. McCarthy outmanoeuvred, and Granger Barras sees it out of play. 34 minutes gone in the final term. Hawthorn by 11 points.
Good on the move, through the stoppage.
Someone's got
hit it over the back, hit it over the back into space.
Boundary umpire spins it in. McInerney trying to hook it down behind. Jager's caught, locked up by Lyons. Ball up. 52 out from the Brisbane goal.
Look for space, get someone on the fly here towards the boundary.
A game with 9 lead changes, 5 of them to start this final term. It's a free kick from the stoppage. It's going Brisbane's way. They all looked at the umpire, and it's a ruck infringement against Kaczynski and the Hawks. And McInerney will take it. There's Dan Rich running shotgun. His left-footed rocket gets around one, kicks it in the end of the top of the goal square. They need a mark. They won't get one. Slap down. Here's Archie to Bailey. Bailey caught by Newcomb. Caught holding the ball. And that'll just about do it for the Hawks. Newcomb wins the footy. Last line of defence for Hawthorn.
It's been great. I think across the 4 quarters, Newcomb.
Play on.
What's he up to now? 27 possessions. A lot of tackles, a lot of contested footy.
Newcomb long towards Mitch Lewis. Coleman kicks inside the 50 for Brisbane. Touches it, hit the chest of Zach Bailey. And here's Newcomb once more on cue. I'm sure Hawthorn fans will be loving his work. Lays the tackle, the footy stuck to Zach Bailey's chest.
Play on.
Thrown up. McInerney tries to tap it down. Zorko sells around Granger Barras, snaps on the left, kicks the goal.
Oh, hang on.
Hawthorn by 5 points. It's Dane Zorko with an inspirational goal, but he might have run out of time. Hawthorn 18-9, 117 to the Brisbane Lions 17-10, 112. All of a sudden, Brisbane have kicked the last 2 goals of the match, and what could have been if Charlie had been able to kick truly.
Yeah, they're going to run out of time. He's had a great second half, Zorko. It's been one of the shining lights for the Lions today, but Sam Mitchell takes a big, deep breath. They've done enough. And they deserve to win too, I think, Lids, for mine. On this last quarter alone, they've wanted a bit more, been a bit more desperate, worked harder to give themselves a lead.
Haven't we? We've been on them all day. 5 points, the Hawks lead it by. McInerney whacks it forward at the restart. And Hawthorn are going to win this rocky fight. Full of offensive flair. 35 goals, 9 lead changes. Hawthorn snap Brisbane's win streak by ending a losing skid of their own. Hawthorn by 5 points. They're a 4-16 the Hawks, but they're on a giant killing run under new coach Sam Mitchell. 3 of their 4 wins are against top 4 teams from last year. So they've beaten Port Adelaide, they've got a win over Geelong, and now they have a win against the Brisbane Lions. 18-9, 117. Hawthorn beat the Brisbane Lions 17-10, 112 down at York Park in Launceston. The Lions led by 6 at quarter time, Hawks by 1 at half time, Brisbane by 4 at 3/4 time. And in keeping with the fashion of the game, Hawthorn by just 5 in the finish, 117 to 112. Hawks to 4-6, Brisbane to 8-2. No chance to move outright second. Disappears. They're now 8-2, the Brisbane Lions. The goal kickers clinch you. The list is as long as your arm, but for the Hawks, 4 for Mitch Lewis, 3 for Wingard, 2 for Dylan Moore, 2 for Butler. Singles, Morrison, Mitchell, Frost, Lynch, Bruce, Shields and Newcomb. Meanwhile, for the Brisbane Lions, 3 for Pryor, 3 for Cameron, 2 for McCarthy, 2 for Zorko, 1 to Berry, Neal, Rich, Rayner, Fullerton, Fort, Payne and McInerney. 18 goals to 17. Hawthorn by 5. The margin never beyond a goal at any of the breaks.
The young, mighty, fighting Hawks. Sam Mitchell's probably best win as coach of the Hawks hands the Brisbane Lions just their second loss for the season. Brett Delidio and Luke Ball sum it up on ABC Sport.
Oh, wow. We're up and down. I know we picked the Lions, at the start of the day, but
Bally was on early. You called it, Bally.
No, we did. The start of that last quarter at 3/4 time. Just had a little feeling that they were just covering the ground a bit better. They are a good running team. I think a couple of times we've seen them this year, and those games that you mentioned, and the Geelong early, they ran the game out really hard. And when they get a sniff, and they've got enough talent, And really, it's guys like Bruce, when they get a sniff late in games, their experience and their class comes to the fore, doesn't it? But it was a bit of old. It was old and new. Tom Mitchell back into the team today. He had a really good game. 36 possessions for him. Loved Newcomb's game. Thought he was terrific from start to finish. I thought he was the one that. The Lions got the jump, didn't they? But I thought he was the one that stemmed the flow in that first quarter and said, no, we're not going to get rolled over today. We're going to stand up and fight. I thought he was terrific. Sicily behind the ball was fantastic. The Lions, credit to them, they came back, fought back late in that quarter. A couple off, injured. McCluggage, that's a bit of a blow. It looks like he might have a little hamstring. I thought Rich's last quarter was enormous. Had 12 possessions and a goal, 5 inside 50s. Jared Lyons worked hard throughout the day, but a seesawing game. In the end, I think the right team won. Take that first 5 minutes out of it where the Lions got the jump. I just thought the Hawks' effort was more consistent across the 4 quarters. And when the game needed to be won in that last quarter, they were more desperate and tougher and worked harder. Yeah. So good on them.
But you could argue also that the Lions had their chances, didn't they? Like they jumped them, but they just couldn't put the Hawks away. But I suppose that's a sign of a side developing and growing in what they're trying to do, and obviously well coached by Sam Mitchell to get to them at quarter time and say, listen boys, we're right in this game, we're not going to just die wondering. Then they get jumped again in that second quarter. They come back and fight about to half time. It could have easily blown right out, and we saw it late in that third quarter. They were down by 20 odd points, but still managed to find a way. And it was just off the back of being desperate, staying in the game, tackling, chasing, and off the back of the guy you mentioned, probably John Newcomb and Tommy Mitchell inside, their toughness, but their want to go forward with the footy was evident today.
I just thought the Lions had too many of their good players were down today. We spoke about Andrews. He just looked a bit off. He wasn't reading the ball, running under the ball, giving free kicks away. We're so used to him having those intercept marks. Free kicks away. Darcy Gardner. Charlie Cameron even only had the 6th possession. Yes, he hit the scoreboard. McCarthy, after a good start, a couple of moments, but was down. Even Zach Bailey, just a little bit off from their best. Even Matteo and Hipwood's the other one that we know
just needs games.
Yeah, that's right. We know that we can't expect him to come in and fill the void left by Danaher, and they're two key forwards are down. So I suppose when you look at that, most teams across the competition won't be able to carry having their 2 key forwards out. They kicked 30 goals between them, and they just weren't quite able to fill that void in the air, especially today, the Lions.
We're going to take you to Perth Stadium in a few minutes' time, so a 3-2-1 for the ABC Football of the Year.
It was tough. I'm going to start with the 3. I'm going to give it to John Newcomb. I just thought his game was terrific. At 27 possessions, 14 contested, 9 clearances, 5 out of the centre, and that's where the Hawks have struggled this year.
12 score involvements.
6 inside 50s and a goal, so well done to Jai. 2 to James Sicily. I just thought he stood up time and time out. 11 intercept possessions with his 24 possessions. Thought he was terrific. And I'm going to give 1 to Jared Lyons because I was a midfielder. I thought Daniel Rich was terrific.
11 score involvements, which is big.
Lyons across the 3 quarters, 32 possessions, 13 contested, 11 score involvements.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
9 clearances and 5 centre bounce clearances.
Tom Mitchell probably a bit stiff.
And Mitchell a bit stiff as well.
Yeah, 3 to Newcomb, 2 to Sicily, 1 to Lyons from Luke Ball in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Aaron Bryant's a score update from Perth.
Clinchy, the Pies up by 18 points at the moment, 7 minutes remaining in the second. They've made a change as well. Mason Cox is subbed out, a finger injury. Ollie Henry comes in for them.
63 free kicks, Brawley, the most in a game in VFL AFL footy since 1982.
What?
63.
Wow. I'm an umpires man. I worked with them for a company. It just felt like they had too big an influence today. And some of it was player sloppiness. I think there was a bit of ill discipline, but I think that'll be an interesting one to review for the umpire coaches.
You're an umpires man. Maybe you just get to know him a bit more, and I'll call him by another Italian.
Well, he's a first year. I'm certain of it. He wasn't there when I was there a couple of years ago.
That'll do us.
Lee Fisher was there, my old teammate.
Yeah, I'm getting out of here before you get us in trouble. Hawthorn to take on the Gold Coast Suns next week. Brisbane have got GWS. The Hawks winners by 5 points. Let's head west. The final match of the round. Fremantle and Collingwood to Clint Weldon, Ben Cameron, Shane Woeward and Cara Antonio. The Hawks with their 4th win of the season under Sam Mitchell. They're winners in